What do you know? Welcome back. Yep, looks like it is in fact live. All right, 100 Monkey. Welcome back to the ranting. Oh dear. And we'll see if this works because it's been cutting me off after just a little bit, and my computer has been going nuts whenever I try to go live and so on. And put up a couple live casts, and they died or were taken down, or I don't know what happened. They didn't get saved, or something happened. But anyway, it's going on September 11th. I've got so much to talk about. I want to talk about hydrogen, HHO. I want to talk about the Rona, of course. I want to talk about the fact that these mask-wearing, mouth-breathing monkeys, the same guys that lied to them about 9/11, we're about to have the anniversary here on Friday. It's taken decades for people to figure out that we have. Yeah, well, I've been a little busy. And I've been trying to make, I wanted to make a video on Sunday. I wanted to make a video yesterday, and it doesn't always work out. And I wanted to make a video the week before that because I think some Sunday school would be useful actually around here. Because like I said, that book, once you start to read that book and understand what the words mean, oh my goodness, it sets you free. Let's make some, where to begin? Let's start here. All right, so understand this basic, right? There is the world of, how am I going to do this? How about like this. All right. We've got the world split in two here. We've got this and we've got this. So we've got the dead and we have the living. All right? Left hand, right hand. This shouldn't be too difficult to understand. All right. World of the living. This is a man. This is a person. Corporate fictions, all the numerous corporate fictions that you run into, and there's so many corporate fictions out there. When it comes to, and the way you find, usually it's going to be in all caps. For example, United States. This is a dead thing. This is not a living government of men. This is a dead thing. United States. That thing's copyrighted. It doesn't say United States of America. It doesn't say the United States of America. It just says United States. Registered trademark, by the way. Let's see here. How about state of whatever it is? State of Hawaii, state of California, state of Michigan, state of Florida. All right. That is also a dead corporate fiction. Let's see here. Department of. There's another one. It's not the Treasury Department. It's the Department of the Treasury. It's right. Department of the Treasury, IRS. Right. It's not the Treasury Department, IRS. It's the Department of the Treasury. It's the Department of State, not the State Department. There's a difference. So you need to understand what you're dealing with over here in the corporate fiction world. Now, the corporate fiction world, they cannot deal with you and me as men and women, as living things. So what do? They convert our status upon birth into a fiction, into a person. Okay, using this thing called the birth certificate. My son, my oldest boy, he was free for about 3 weeks before we finally got all the paperwork together to enslave him. I would not sign the paperwork because I understood the concept of chattel property and the pledging that is done with the birth certificate. So on the birth certificate, first thing you need to do is figure out what those numbers are and what your accounts are. There are routing numbers and account numbers. They don't tell you any of this stuff. They assume that you're supposed to know it, right? That's how they get you. Because you assume that you're a living man, and you assume that these lying sons of bitches and bastards are going to try to do right by you. Because you wrote them a letter. No, they're not. They're not going to try and do right by you by any stretch of the imagination. They were created to rape and pillage you, to make plunder legal via statute, converting what you thought were roads and highways into trade routes that are foreign to you. Therefore, if you want to use your foreign trade route, you're going to need a license, and they assume you're for hire. Okay, so you need to get all that shit squared away. Maybe some paperwork needs to be filled out by you. And just because you fill out the paperwork doesn't mean they're going to accept it. If you've done anything wrong, if you haven't filled out the process to the nth degree, they're going to kick it back to you to the best of their ability. But you make it so that they can't do this. And in order to get to that point, you need to learn some law, and you need to learn what the words mean. You want to go in there not knowing what the words mean, and you put words that you don't know into your documents so you can sound smart, and they're going to fuck you to death. Simple as that. So you better know what the words mean. You need to get multiple, like what does that word mean right there? What does that word mean? That's how they're getting away with raping your children, by the way, because they just pay deodorants. They ain't like us. They don't have our status. They're not status of slave. They don't need representation. They present themselves. You need representation. And if you can't afford representation, we will appoint one for you. Because you're so fucking ignorant, you don't know the law well enough to be able to stand up in court and get the fuck out of there without them extracting wealth from you. Because we ignorant. We went to slave school. And we love our slave schools, right? And if we get the square hat at the slave school after the post-slave schools, wherein now I understand why my father was so against these things and why he was no fan of Martin Luther King. Garvey, if you got some color to your skin, you might want to find out who Thomas Garvey is. You might want to read some of the stuff that, what was the guy's name? Malcolm X had to say. You also might want to read some of the stuff that Martin Luther King wrote too, because that was no slouch. But at the same time, that was absolutely to make sure that any kind of change that came with maximum wealth extraction from the black populace and minimum tribulation by them to the others. And we'll leave it at that. I don't want to get flagged. I so recommend this book. Oh my God, read this book. Wayne Jett, read it. Recommend this again. The great. It's the thinner one, but it's a great perspective. This is not the only law dictionary you should have, but you should have this one in your repertoire. This is Anderson's. You got to get familiar with this book, right? This one basically tells you that men are born free. Right? And they have to screw with your mother's mind and your father's mind to get you to go from here to over here. They have to fill out paperwork that they fill out voluntarily because it says in the constitutions for these things, which is they reflect the Constitution of the United States of America, but United States Corporation and state of Hawaii or state of California or whatever state you're in, confusion probably, but whatever state you're in, they absolutely, positively tell you that there is no involuntary servitude, but there's voluntary servitude. You didn't know you volunteered, though. That's naughty. That's called fraud. You are non-assumpsit, and you should know what assumpsit means. The difference between assumpsit and non-assumpsit. The difference between presumption and assumption. They make presumptions because you are the fuckers that filled out the paperwork. Me too. I can't just blame it on you guys. But you filled out the paperwork, so they make the assumption that you are a citizen, that you are over here in personhood, that you are over here a ward of the state, that you need warding. That's why they call them wardens when you screw up and they actually take your physical person and put you in jail because you never told them that, wait a minute, there were supposed to be no debtor prisons in the United States, and there weren't supposed to be any places wherein you could be taken and warehoused to pay debts, because basically what you're doing is your time served, right? The time of your life versus that charge, and that's how you set off the charge. No, you want to set off those charges with equal charges, and right? It's debits and credits. That's all. They ain't no money, people. So debits and credits, you need to understand. So when you get charged, you need to understand how to discharge, and you don't want to discharge with your person, so you let them know in advance. Right? That not when you're gonna get charged, not because they're gonna figure out how to fuck with you at some point in the future. You're gonna run a stop sign, or they're gonna claim you did. Like I had all four wheels need to come to a stop. Really? So only one wheel came to a stop? Is that what you're trying to say? Anyway, right? They're gonna hit you for a seatbelt. They're gonna hit you for talking on your cell phone. You built something that you didn't get a permit for. Whatever the fuck it is, they're gonna try to get you for something. There are thousands and thousands of laws. And these corporations are designed for the sole purpose of extracting wealth from you via governance, via converting all manner of rights, inalienable rights, into privileges, where you need to license back and right. Okay. Anyway, and if they fuck with us, that's all they do, right? They give a piece of property, maybe they give some money, and so forth, but they aren't paying with their life or with their time. They just offset it. You need to learn how to do same, and it's not actually that difficult. Once you start to understand, they split the world in two, and they can't deal with the living man. Okay, so you need to inform them that okay, I may and I am authorized. This man over here is authorized to represent. And let's how am I going to draw this to make it simple? But this man right here. Oh, actually, we'll do this. Goes over here. All right, as authorized representative, go get a magnifying glass out and look at the bottom of your checks. You are authorized to represent that account. You are, okay, and here's the thing. I am Joe Blow, 100 Monkey. And my family name is Smith. So Joe Blow Smith, right? But your Christian name, Christ Jesus told you, nobody comes to the Father but through me. That Christian name, this is the thing that creepeth, right? That's the surname. But Joe Blow, right? That's not your name. That's who you are. That's while you are incarnated here, your name is not Joe Blow Smith in all caps. That's a corporate fiction over here. All right, so you're authorized to represent Joe Blow Smith, and you're also authorized probably to represent, because I have the documents from my own self, Smith, comma Joe Blow. These fuckers. That's the creditor. But the idea being is that they bet that you don't know who you are or what your name is, right? And you are not that name. This is the thing. That passport, that's not you, right? That's some identification, but that's not you. Same thing with your driver's license, if you have one. That's not you, right? Is that your picture, right? Is that you? No, that's a picture of me. That's my favorite line out of right, the Jokers, right? Is that your girlfriend? No, that's a picture of her. Because that's basically what they're doing, is trying to get you to associate that you are that license, or you are that passport, or you are that corporate fiction. And what you have to do is let them know that I am Joe Blow, who is authorized to represent those licenses and the names, those names that are on. So you got to know what the words mean. What's the name? If you don't know what the words mean, you're fucked. And they take advantage of you left and right all day long. With success and no remorse, and they just collect the money, right? I mean, get it through your heads. They pay you with debt, right? They don't give you silver or gold anymore. And right now they are taking the last vestiges of anything that would be of value. They're slugs made out of base metals, but they're taking that too, right? Well, I tell you, what was it? It was 1933 when they really started learn what happened that year, all the different acts and things that went through Congress, the emergency powers and all the shit that happened in 1933, 34. Yeah, anyway, basically they stole all the gold. All right, then we'll skip. A lot of stuff happens. World Wars, Korean Wars, lots of stuff happens. But should I go to the 1940? Okay, they changed our courts right around in the 1940s. I'm going to go to 48, 49. They changed the court system around and to make you think that you're over here in the de jure with a court, but actually it's just these corporate bullshit courts that are. You need to ask, and I did this in a court of law, but you need to ask, and you don't ever ask a question in a court of law that you don't know the answer to. All right, that's rule number one. And Abraham Lincoln, my son. We were having an argument. It was awesome because basically at the end of it, he said, concede all points except for the main point, right? That you keep the main thing. Anyway, Abraham Lincoln told you, right? You concede all points with the main point. All right. Anyway, so the point being is, it was an enjoyable argument. The point being is that what they've done here is make you think that you're a man or a woman, but actually you're not. You're this chattel property. You're this dead thing. You're this ward of the state. You're this infant. You're this thing that needs their help, and they need to be trustees for you because you can't manage your own affairs. So they magnanimously take care of things for you. And you're so fucking ignorant, you let them do it for you, right? And you never told them different. I never told them different. Did you tell them different? When you were 25, did you mention the fact that you were alive and that you were a living thing and that you didn't need your dead man's chest anymore? And that those bonds were all made, that, get rid of the bonds. Don't need the bonds. And then as I began reading other scripture and other books from other books, they know about the bonding system. And they know what the bonding system is. That's why in other countries, you can get a piece of property, you'll never pay tax on it, and you don't need to ask permission from any fucking buddy to put a house or whatever on that thing, because they still are over here in the living, right? But for the most part, these guys went around the world with their fucking brotherhoods and enslaved the entire world with this Babylonian money magic system where they absolutely get control of your mind. And you see how well they control your mind. The same fucking liars that lied to you about these buildings falling at free fall speed, right? And I had arguments with physicists, for fuck's sake, that there's no way that 2 little planes knocked down 3 buildings at free fall speed, and we're coming up on the anniversary of it on Friday. It's not possible that could have happened. But because they show you the picture and then they tell you what happened. They show you the picture, that's a man. They show you the picture, that's a woman. They show you the picture and you believe it because, it's mass media. They wouldn't lie to you, would you? But these same fuckers that lied about 9/11 are the same fuckers lying about this, or the same fuckers lying about the Rona. Right? These corporations, these edifices are there to do nothing but control and extract wealth from you from the time you freaking open your eyes to the time you close them again. That's all they're there to do. They're not there to help you. They're not there to make you safe. They're not there to protect your children from disease. They're there to extract wealth from you at any fucking cost. And they will tell any lie to get that done. And if you believe those lies, good for you. But they're lying to you. See, now here's the difference. Men and women, they recognize the truth when they hear it. They can be lied to, but you absolutely recognize the truth and hear it. Oh, the other book I should get is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now you will see that even though they came up with this wonderful statistic, that's how many people actually, the percentage of the people that they told you that only had Rona as the morbidity, the only thing that killed them, was 6% of the population. And they will come and attack you from all sides trying to tell you, well, that's not what they meant. Well, yeah, well, it's 6%, but no, it's 6%. The rest had comorbidities that might have killed them even if they didn't get the Rona, between heart diseases, advanced age, like 85. You understand that you have a better chance of getting killed in your car than you do of dying from Rona if you're under the age of 65. And if you're from 0 to 19, the chance, your morbidity rate is 0.0%, because we've only had a few hundreds of people die of Rona in that group. Children, hundreds in a nation of 331 million. So you calculate their morbidity at 0.0. But the point is, the same freaking liars that lie about this, that lied about 9/11, lied through their teeth about 9/11. I can't believe, right? Okay, so here's the difference now. Oh no, I've got the Rona. And it's empty. Oh no, I didn't fill it before I started. Oh well. I may have to go run off and get something to drink, but because this is going to be a long one, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. But anyway, those same lying liars, the same lying liars that did this are the same ones telling you to put a mask on. The same lying liars that lied about 9/11 are the same ones that the same lying liars that couldn't tell you what happened to Epstein. Okay, you all know Epstein didn't kill himself. Everybody knows this. We don't know who did it or how they did it, and nobody did. Nobody asked any questions. But them same lying liars at NPR and at CNN, and name them all, CBS, NBC, CNBC, all of those liar media outlets, couldn't tell you what happened to Epstein, but they'll tell you all about the Rona. And they won't tell you, I just was reading other stuff from last year where Biden was talking about how we're not prepared for a pandemic. This was back in October of 2019. And many other people talking about pandemics and Bill Gates and so forth. And then see, this is the thing. You guys are thinking that this thing ends in medical tyranny and we're going to wear masks for the rest of our life. No, this thing ends in hangings. And you need to get over it, because it's coming. There's going to be people that get dead over this. Many people that get dead over this. And they know they have to do it, because if they don't, do you see how many? Oh, we'll just write it down, because if I say it out loud, I'll get flagged. I got kicked off of Facebook just for mentioning this guy and the fact that he wasn't a murderer, that it was self-defense, There are 20 of these guys for every one of the BLMers. There are 20 of these guys for every one of the Antifa guys. At least 20, probably more than that. And they know it. All right. All right. These guys are ignorant of these facts. And what happens when they start figuring this stuff out. But at the moment, these guys, the Kenosha kid, outnumber the minority by far. See, and my son also figured this out. Art of War, Sun Tzu. You need to get that book and read it. What they have done is make themselves appear like they are many and we are few. So we are afraid to stand up and make noise because we're going to get slapped. No. They are very few and we are many. Like I said, there are at least 10 to 20 to 1. Get these guys riled up and they won't be able to control it with their thin blue line or their thick green line. Which, right? We couldn't beat rice farmers, for God's sakes. What are you going to do when there's, I mean, go look at how many people own weapons just in California and Oregon. How many hunting licenses that is. We have the largest standing army in the world, and they could not. And they tried hard with all manner of deceptions and lies and deceits and false flags. And they shot up our children to get us to give up our guns. Now look at the fuckers in Victoria. Got any Aussie friends? Show them this. Neener, right? You gave up your fucking guns, and now look what happened to you. Right? Can't leave your fucking house. I mean, they just did complete and utter martial law. And if they could have got away with it here in the United States, just United States Corporation, they would have. But they couldn't because they couldn't get rid of our guns. And now they don't get too terribly uppity with us, right? They went pretty far, but they didn't push it that hard. Because they know people are getting fed up. And slow to anger, but once angered, they will be reminded who they governed. Not even 150 years ago, I know men and women whose grandparents were shooting Indians in Idaho and Montana and so forth. I mean, it hasn't been that long. Do not discount these men. And what they did is they subjugated these men and turned them into chattel property of these corporations without their knowledge. And once they wake up to the fact, it could get unpleasant. But don't worry, most of your friends are not going to wake up to the fact. Most of your friends are going to call this crazy talk and that it's just nuts and that, 1933, so what? Let's go back to 1871. That's the first date you need to know. And if you want to go back further than that, what happened in 1865? But 1871, that's why a lot of the courts that you walk into, courtrooms, they're not courts, they're courtrooms, they won't go back before, they won't recognize anything before 1871. They don't recognize Dred Scott, for example, where it says that, then you cannot be, anyway, citizens. Let's see here. So you go 1871, then we got 1789, that would be Constitution, 1776. These monkeys made some declarations. You need to make some declarations that stand using words that you understand the meanings of that are lawful. And you need to make those declarations and you need to send them to certain places. Am I not a man? I am a man. If you have any freaking information that contradicts that statement that I am the corporate fiction known as your all caps name that's listed on your birth certificate, then please send it to me so that I can correct this presumption because I am not that. Yeah, that's a very basic thing to do. Apparently, this is crazy. I'll get in trouble. You fucking slaves. Anyway, 1933, 1948, changed the court system around to even fuck with you even more. Skip. 1964, took the silver out. This is where they got the gold. This is where they took the silver. Let's see here. 1971, they took the rest of the world off of the gold standard and basically got the rest of our gold. And then 1971, let's move up to 1982. The greedy bastards took the copper out of our fucking pennies. And now in 2020, there's something that happened on September 11th, 2000, right? But 2020, now they're taking the last of the wealth because nickels are still worth a nickel, basically. They have nickel in them and copper. Last honest coin that we had. And now you can't use that coin. So before this was all happening, call me crazy. Actually, I'm not going to get into it, but I used to go to various banks and buy rolls of nickels. And those nickels do not exist in this household. They exist in other places. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be happy that I had those nickels. because you won't be able to use silver dimes the way things are going. I was just watching a video. I'll put links as usual. I'll try to remember to put links. I watch this thing on 2x speed afterwards and cringe at how many mistakes I make. So that's another thing. A lot of times what I say and what I think and what I mean are two different things. So don't trust me. This is not legal advice. You need to do your own damn research and find out what the words mean for yourself. Because I've gone back and looked and I said, oh shit, that's wrong. That's like wrong. But I'll leave it there. Same thing with some other people. They put the wrong stuff there on purpose. Because if you don't know the difference, that's like the Anarchist Cookbook. If you don't know what you're doing with the Anarchist Cookbook, you will blow yourself up. That's the whole point. The earlier versions, no, but the later versions, yes, because they didn't want you guys understanding how easy it is to make shit that blows up. When I was a child, I think the fire department came to our house at least 3 or 4 times because I used to blow shit up and they would have called me a terrorist now and I would have been in prison and all kind of stuff. But no, I was just a child that, I mean, stuff goes boom. It's fun, right? And now that's illegal. And well, it wasn't 100% legal at that time either. But at the same time, I was on my own property. I didn't hurt anybody. Managed to burn down a banana patch and managed to burn some cane grass in a ditch that got kind of out of control and so a few other things. But yeah, incendiary devices. Anyway, the point being is, and then I went to a place where they formally train you in that kind of stuff. And that was even more fun. But the point being is, you need to know what the words mean. You need to do the research for yourself. You need to discover these things for yourself. Don't count on me. Don't count on some other YouTube video. The information is out there because of their crazy freaking codes. They have to put the information out there. They have to tell you. They have to give you a remedy, right? I put that thing about equity and so forth. I don't even know if I got to that actually because I think it got cut off. But I'll put the link to equity in there. But because we are equitable people, right? But they cannot. These guys cannot give you equity, right? You expect equity because you are equitable and charitable, but they can't give you equity, right? All they can do is make legal determinations based on facts. Right or wrong doesn't come into it, right? Justice is blind. I made a video about that. You go to my website you go to this YouTube channel and it's one of the first things you'll see. When she's blind and she does not have the green mantle. She does not wear the jewel. She does not have the crown. She is basically garbed in the toga of death, right? That's how they used to bury you, the shroud. And she has the scales up and right. I mean, everything is reversed. It is reversed. So when you walk into their courts, they tell you on their face what they're about to do to you. So you avoid the courts like a plague, right? You don't want to go in there unless you absolutely have to. And when you go in there, as I saw one more, it was great. You are not going to overturn the system knowing this information. They have all the guns and clubs and they just continue to pretend. And the next person that comes in that's ignorant, they're going to fuck them. So your job is not to get fucked. Your job is to walk out of that court. And I did. I had them slide the piece of paper to me. And I was so fucking ignorant at the time, I didn't know what to do. What I should have done is endorsed it. Right? But so instead they said, would you get out of our courtroom for $20? And I went, because I'm an ignorant fucking slave. Sure, I'll get out of your courtroom for $20 because $20 is a whole lot cheaper than the $400 and $800 fines that I saw everybody else getting for the exact same infractions, the exact same contracts that they had offered me. Right? And I was smart enough not to sign the contract, but I didn't know how to endorse the contract properly. Because if I would have done that, it never would have even got to that phase. But and I've had it happen before because I had this other thing where these guys tried to give me a ticket for walking on the land. I endorsed that thing properly and I never heard from them again, right? Because I have no contract with these private corporations. So you need to let them know in advance, not in the dark on the side of the road in your car with a guy that's got a gun and an IQ cap and a bad fucking attitude, that you're not a Simpson, right? You're not going to have that argument or conversation. You'll have done this all in advance, right? Now you give them the piece that they want, the document that they want, which is usually going to be an ID in the form of your passport, which allows you to travel on those foreign trade routes without license or fee. And they hand you back your license and tell you to have a fucking nice day, generally. Or you can be a belligerent asshole and get yourself shot. Choose. And we know how many people choose the later or the latter of the two, particularly if you got black skin. But no, that's also a lie. If you're a violent criminal, you are much more likely to get your ass shot if you're white than if you're black. much more. So you white guys thinking you got white privilege, and yeah, you fuck around and find out if you got white privilege or not. If you're in a position of anyway. Also, that other thing with that, right? 2 felons and a pedo. He shot random people in a crowd, apparently, and it was 2 felons and a pedo. So it's pretty clear what they're using to rabble. All right, this is the same story. Again, learn your fucking history. What did they do? I left out some dates in between here. What happened in Russia with the Bolsheviks? What happened in Germany around this time? Same fucking story, same fucking game plan. They only got 4 ponies. And this is the thing. Let's talk about that for just a moment. I've talked about the 4 ponies, right? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and what they stand for and so forth. What is it? It's divide and conquer. Pardon me. It's divide and conquer. It's I'm drawing a blank only because, like I said, all right. Divide and conquer, war, pestilence, and famine. That's it. Those are their 4 ponies. Now, you got to understand that you can also read those 4 ponies as the 4 cardinal points when we're talking about astrology. That's another way to cipher those. You can talk about them as being this, because we're just about to come up on solstice, right? Equinox comes in December, and we're having a solstice on the 21st. And this is the other thing. People are finally starting to get wise and correlate the disappearance of many children with some of these cardinal points, with those 4 horsemen, because that's you're looking at December 21st, right? Geez, the 4 of them. September 21st, the midsummer, and anyway, those 4 cardinal points are related to those 4 horsemen. Again, there's 2 ciphers. There's more, but wait, there's more. Learn what the words mean. Understand the concept that these guys that set this whole ridiculously simple but yet complex system. Because here's the bottom line. I need to get some water. The bottom line is very simple. These are corporations. You are not a corporation. They convert you into a corporation so that they can extract wealth from you. The way to get out from under this whore of Babylon is to come back over here and let them know that you're a living man. And then you must stand on your square and not traverse. Because this line right here is the line that you traverse. Whenever you walk into a courtroom, you're traversing. You're walking into the world of the dead. Right? Whenever you send a package and you put some money for the ferryman on there, you're considered to be in the land of the dead. That social security number that you have, that is a dead man's chest. That's a dead man's account. You need to get rid of those dead man's accounts, or at least take control of them, at the very least. This, like I said, this stuff is not that complicated, but they've tried to turn it into this thing that's complicated. But just understand, these are private corporations. You are not a private corporation, right? You're not a private person. You may be a private man or woman, but once they get you saying person, because you don't want to offend your friends that are bisexual or gay or whatever, the LGBTQ or whatever the fuck it is. We're just persons. No, you're men and women. There's 2 genders. I have my son understanding the 7 hermetic principles, while studying the 7 hermetic principles. You need to understand those 7 principles, right? Starts with mentalism. The very last thing on the thing is gender. But anyway, once they got that gender fucked up, they got you over here calling yourself a person. You're not a man or a woman. And now they got you. Is this hard to understand? Am I making sense? All right. So declare yourself a man or a woman. Understand that the Masons that set up the de jure Republic back here, these guys were Masons. They were part of the Brotherhoods, right? You ain't part of the Brotherhoods. I'm not part of the Brotherhoods. And you need to study what the Brotherhoods preach, and that's the white light. All right, I'm gonna tell you this. Just take it for what you want. When the time comes, head for the sun. Sun, the golden light. Just head for the gold, not the white light. Don't go sideways. Don't right in the dark. Just head for the light. Head for the golden light. How do you think the hologram is being projected? How do you think the simulation is being projected? Yeah, that big bright thing in this. Yeah, that's what's projecting the hologram. Anyway, the idea being is, and that's crazy metaphysics and so on, but the idea being is that you need to understand the very simple concept that these demons, these liars, have set up this whole system over here in order to extract wealth from you in the prime material plane from cradle to grave. And the way they've done it is convert you into a corporate fiction. So you have to unconvert yourself. You have to change your status from that corporate fiction to a man or woman, right? Man with a womb or man, one of the two. Those are your options. You got two options. All right. So in order to do this, there's paperwork and words that you have to use, and those words need to be sent to various people. If you were polite, you would have informed your sheriffs and your police department that you're in their county, right? And there's a difference between, say, Maui County and the county of Maui, right? There's a difference between, see? Are you here? My ride's here. It's not because we have more accidents. It's not because it's because we're on lockdown and the numbers have come in. I hear that at least once a day, twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. The numbers have come in. It's at least 10 to 1 when it comes to the amount of death and mayhem that has been caused by lockdowns, as opposed to that from the Rona. In some places like South Africa, they figured it was 29. Other places, the most common one I've actually seen, the first one I saw was 14 to 1. In other words, 14 to death, suicide, overdose, whatever, from the lockdowns, as opposed to actually dying from some kind of flu that shuts your lungs down and causes you to die, that we are calling the Rona. We have created so much. So now, here's the other thing. I can cruise down, as you heard, there's a main thoroughfare not too far away where you can hear the sirens going by. I can stand down there for, I'm going to say 10 minutes, and it won't take me 10 minutes before somebody drives by alone in their car with a mask on. If you are thinking that that mentality and those people are going to create some kind of revolution, you are a dreamer. Because they ain't gonna revolt. They ain't gonna all that. Oh, just tell me what to do, massa. Right? Oh, here my taxes, massa. Right? I'll put a massa on, massa. Can I build a wall around my house, massa? Can I put a little house in the backyard, massa? My grandmother needs a place to live, massa. Can I please? Oh, how much money do you want me to give you? Them people ain't revolting. It's just not gonna happen. So don't count on them. And again, when you walk into a courtroom, you are not fucking there to overturn the system, because they're not going to. Your job is to get in and out of there with as little, let them know who the hell you are. Make sure that they lose the bet on you don't even know your fucking name. I know judges that have told me this. They bet. They make side bets that you don't know your name, because you don't know your name. You am that person, right? Right? You are not the corporate fiction. So you need to stick to that. That person, that man is authorized to sign for this person. Oh, now I got it right. You are the authorized representative. You are, and see, this is and here's the other thing I just found out. If you go watch, and I'll see if I can find it. Glenn Beck did this thing where he brought these people in and talking about how people are freaking ripping people's houses off and basically changing the certificates of mortgage. It's a long story. I'll put the video down below. But basically what they're doing is they're finding people that have equity in their homes and then putting out, changing the ownership, and then taking out mortgages and so forth. And then the person finds out that they're not even listed as the owner in the home. Why? Because they can get a notary seal for basically no money. Right? As the one person said, I live in one state. The notary seal for that state was sent to me in another state. And then he used the notary seal to do the documents, because he's actually one of the good guys that's trying to help people not have this happen to them. But that's why you need to have your notary notarized, that this is a notary in good standing, because the federal government understands that anybody can grab a notary and claim they're a notary and put your certificate down and then claim bonds and do all the kind of stuff that you need to do. So you need to have that second one. And I read it to you in videos past, where it's right there on the website that you either need to have the clerk of the court, or you need to have the attorney general from your state let them know that the person that notarized your signature is an actual notary in good standing. Right? That's not just some double hoop that they did to trip you up. It's because there are so many people out there that are fraudulent. that will, use a fraudulent notary, that they want to know that that notary is in good standing. Right? There's the why behind that. That's not just to screw you up. That's because they don't want false documents being filed with the government, because it's pretty clear that there are people out there that will steal houses from elderly people. And there's not a whole lot they can do about it until such time, like, they don't even know what's happening, right? Because they're not down there at the recorder's office checking out what's going on. So it makes it look like they have transferred property. So if you have property that you have serious equity in, you better take a look at this. Anyway, I'll put a link below about it if I can find the link to it, because it's usually commercial here on YouTube. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about is HHO, hydrogen. Find out about hydrogen. 100 monkey, right? Find out when it comes to health, not just fuel, not just turning water into fuel, but changing your health. I have definitely noticed the difference once I started adding hydrogen. The gray is disappearing. I had some gray over here, and I had some gray over here. I got a half century and 6 more, and I'm still not turning gray like a lot of my friends that are 10 years younger than me. Got the white beard going on, got the salt and pepper in the beard, got the salt and pepper in their hair going on. I don't use any hair color. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. Food, food, food. Now I find out. Oh, did I write this down? Yes, I did. I have so many pens. Got a box of these. Let's go with orange. Let's see here. 64%. Isn't it 64%? 64% of you is hydrogen. By volume, not by weight. Let's see here. 24%, thereabouts. These are approximations, by the way. Oxygen. Let's see here. Carbon makes up about 12%. That's carbon. Oops. Wrong thing in the wrong place. All right, there. So this is standing for C, right? Carbon. And then the rest of it depends on how you look at it. We're going to call that, we'll go with 2%, thereabouts, is all the stuff in your vitamins and minerals, right? But for the most part, you is hydrogen, you is water, and you is carbon. That's what makes you up. So why are you supplementing, spending all your money supplementing down here without first taking care of this? So find out about HHO. There's a guy, and I'll put a link down below and you go watch some of his videos. He was into it when it came to fuel and so forth, but he thought, breathing this stuff, it's an explosive gas. That's crazy talk. And now you see him most of the time, he's got the thing on and he's breathing it, because when you breathe the extra hydrogen, it's not the oxygen. Oxygen good, right? Michael Jackson in his hyperbaric chamber and all these other people that were talking about oxygen, getting extra oxygen into you. I have billionaire buddies that they have hyperbaric chambers and they stick their children in it and they got this because of the Rona. But wait a minute, that's 20, this is 6, which is more, which is bigger. All right, so find out about hydrogen supplementation. Literally hydration, hydrogen. You want hydrogen in you. Lack of hydrogen, you start to corrode. You start to turn white. You start to dry out and get crusty. So what you want is hydrogen. Find out about HHO. I'll put a couple links down there. The machines are not cheap, but worth it. And there's supplementation that you can do. There's water that you can take and so forth that have more hydrogen in them than less. Let's see here. And then, of course, C60. Find out about that stuff. Because that's your basic building blocks. And see, then the next thing down here is minerals. I think I showed this to you before. I don't have any handy. I don't feel like going over to get some. But you get the minerals in you, and your body has all the basic building blocks to make you up. All the other supplements, yeah, they can help. I mean, for sure. Mushrooms, like reishi mushrooms and turkey tail and all manner of mushrooms. Look at Paul Stamets if you want more information on mushrooms that are hugely important for your health and have health benefits. There are many supplements. Let's see, vitamin C for one. I talk about them. The magnesium, iodine. Anyway, all of those. But that's down here. The main ones, HHO. Find out about hydrogen. Can't say it enough. Oxygen, important, but hydrogen, more important than that. and carbon, also rather important, because that's the stuff that the literal building blocks. And once the thing that I notice, again, the guy that's talking about hydrogen, you look at pictures of him or videos of him from 12 years ago when he was first discovering this stuff. And because he, like I said, he had figured out that, yeah, hydrogen is fuel and water is fuel, and you can burn water. And it's not about voltage, it's about frequency and so forth, and splitting hydrogen using metal plates. But he wasn't talking about using it for health. He wasn't talking about for, I mean, these guys are getting rid of melanomas by taking the water. You bubble the hydrogen through the water, and then you take that water, and it gets rid of carcinomas or melanomas on the skin and so on, and other lesions, also psoriasis. I mean, the benefits are huge, 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 because your body is able to heal itself, because this is the primary thing it needs is hydrogen. All right, C60 down here, the carbon is another thing, the buckyballs is another thing that you can take that will change the your aging, your physical aging process. See, because I don't want to live forever, but while I'm here, I don't want to be full of aches and pains. I have friends that are my age now. They are suffering from all manner of pains in their hips and their knees, and their stomach is giving them problems, and their back is giving them problems, and their neck is giving them problems, and all. I got none of that. Right? On last Thursday, I went out and fooled around with a pick and shovel for like 6 or 7 hours. And was I a little stiff afterwards? Yeah, but 1 day, 2 days, and it's over, just like when I was a child or when I was much younger. Why at this age? Because of this stuff, right? It's what you eat, it's what you eat, it's what you eat, but it's not because I got good genes. My mother was in the ground at 68. My grandfather was in the ground at 54. I've outlived my grandfather when it comes to, just age, because he was dead at 54. So don't tell me about good genes, right? The idea being is that it's what you eat, it's what you eat, it's what you eat. It's what you put into the system. Now, here's the other thing. You put toxins into the system, and there are lots of those, because these demons, the same guys that set up this system into the world of the dead and the world of the living, right? Split the world in two, set up these corporations over here to rule over you, these corporations, and this is man and woman. The guys that set this thing up, these lying liars, they have figured out that if they want to extract maximum wealth for you, well, one way to do it is through the courts. The other way to do it is through medicine. Put that in quotes because it's anything but. This is the mushroom cult. These are the guys. I mean, the brotherhoods go back forever and ever. You fall down the rabbit holes and you start to realize that there are a bunch of different brotherhoods. Some of them are in the pharmaceutical industry. Some of them went into the fish head cult. Did the souls? They claim your soul. By the way, go back and look at it. The Pope claims your soul. It's Francis, not the other guys. How old I am, but the Pope. Because I was thinking John Paul. I can't remember the name of the Pope. The guy is of no consequence to me, but at the same time, he claims to own my soul. Vicar of Christ on earth. And they are horrifying people. But anyway, that's one of the sets of brotherhoods. There's the other brotherhoods that deal in politics. All of your founding fathers were in that brotherhood, those Masons, that set up the whole system of magic and control that we lovingly call United States Corporation. They set that thing up. The first thing they set up was United States of America, right? You want to be a United States of America national. Article 4 type citizen is what you want to be. Well, if you're born here in what we call the land of the free and the home of the slave. But if you're in other places like Canada or Britain and so forth, you're still a man or living man or woman. And see, what they figured out is that living man or woman, and we just give them small amounts of poison, right? Don't give them huge amounts of poison. They'll die if you do that. So just give them small amounts. And then here's what you have to do. You have to give them a little bit of poison, right? And it doesn't kill them. And then you give them a little bit of this poison, but then they take both poisons, wherein you get both of them at the same time. Say you get injected with something and then you eat something. Like say you've got some fluoride going on and then we put some mercury in there. Okay, now you get diseases. And what do you do when you get diseases? You run over here to these dead guys, these corporations, these pharmaceutical companies for their medicines, which are all poisons, right? All of it. That's why they require prescriptions, because they're poisons and you can't just go get them if they're not generally accepted as safe. So the idea is get you sick, get you some cancer, get you some stuff that needs treatment like psoriasis, get you some carpal tunnel syndrome, get you some back pain, get you some whatever it is, right? Okay, and then they'll come over here and they will treat you. How will they? Will they treat you well or will they treat you badly? Go to any, and then I just hate it. I see all these commercials on YouTube and other places for people that treat cancer. Oh, these bastards! How long have they known that cannabis was a cancer cure? Not just a treatment, but a cure for 80 to 90% of people that get the cancer. A little dab will do you if you get the right full extract cannabis oil. If you don't know about this, you ought to. Phoenix Tears, that was a Canadian guy that figured this stuff out to start off with. But the idea being is that they went over here and made it, the corporations made it illegal for you to treat yourself, made it illegal for you to say no to some of their concoctions. And how do they do it? They do it through the enforcement complex. And now you're seeing the medical industrial complex and the state absolutely merge and tell you to put a mask on, and oh, you better get that. And I'm at the point now where it's like, you know what? Go get that vaccine, right? Get that. Give it to your kids. Give it to your, and that's what they are. They're not children. They're kids. Kids are suitable for sacrifice, right? But what you do is get the vaccine, and then your grandkids will not trouble my grandkids because you will not have any grandkids. I will have grandchildren, and you will have none, because these guys know what they're doing. They get, and then what they do while you're dying is extract as much wealth from you as possible. All that grief that you suffer because mom has cancer, because whatever it is, yeah, they don't care as long as they make money. Just give them lots and lots of money, right? So how do they extract wealth from you? They extract wealth from you through the corporate governance system that they have created, right? United States is designed to extract wealth from you. Medical establishment is designed to take wealth from you. It's not designed to cure you. It's not designed to fix you. It's not, right? It's designed to take money from you. Now, having said that, I get shot. I break my arm. I get in a car accident. I want Western medicine. They're really good at sewing you back together. But when it comes to, and I mean, there's a guy on Maui, he does stitches. You get bit by a shark, he'll put you back together again. You never even know there was a shark. I mean, barely can tell. The guy's amazing. So yeah, for that, good. But when it comes to everything else, prevention of cancer, treatment of diseases, and how do you get the diseases? This is the other thing. You guys never ask. Why? Why does my child have peanut allergy? Why does I remember when peanut allergy was super rare. Now it's common as dirt, to the point where I go to a party and they ask, oh, do you have any food allergies? Do you have anything we should know about? No, I just eat food because I eat food. So does my son. Both sons. They can just eat food. They don't. I'm not worried about peanut allergy or food allergies and so forth, because there was a method to my madness when they were first coming up and I was introducing food to them. But the idea being is that these guys have the med industrial complex, the gov industrial complex, and the mill industrial complex, all designed to extract. And let's not forget about the prison industrial complex, where they fully ward you, right? That actually comes under this. Well, actually, we all do. But right now, the medical industrial complex is trying to say that they have that none of this governance and none of the stuff that we set up to try to protect ourselves from these idiots is valid. Canada, however, just said that all of these regulations that they came out for the Rona are basically invalid. Go look into that. That's Canada. Australia, Victoria, completely locked down. And see what they're doing. It's theater, my friends. They're showing you this is the world that can be. If you guys keep sleeping and allow us to do this, this is what we'll do. Really trying to force women to put on masks and these guys with guns and clubs, right? These are your fellow man, but they're so fucking ignorant and so fucking stupid and so wanting a paycheck that they'll just do whatever the fuck it is they're told. Doesn't matter how bad it looks on video. because they have the mind, right? The government has their minds. And if they will put the uniform on, even more it becomes clear they have their minds. And if they will follow orders, that rules and orders that have nothing to do with your rights and inalienable rights to right, life, liberty, and happiness. No, because why? Because they're sanctimonious fucktards that are absolutely doing this for your own good, right? Put that mask on to save grandma. We're doing this for your own good. We're doing this because we don't want you to get sick, or we don't want others to get sick because of you, because you won't put your mask on, right? I mean, these people are beyond the pale when it comes to being mind controlled. All right. That medical establishment uses this government to extract wealth from you and to do the things that you're watching them do, things that I would never believe. If I would have said some of the things that are happening right now, even just a year ago on my videos, you would have all told me I was nuts. Admit it. All right, so what you need to do is change your status so that these guys cannot use these guys to extract wealth from you and tell you what to do. You understand? All right, so you have to get over here into the world of the living. Same thing when it comes to, like, say, are the corporations underneath these state and local governments that call themselves building code inspectors and so forth. They write codes. Those aren't laws. So they write all kind of complex codes so that the slave has to ask them permission and give them lots of money just so you can have a place to live. You can't put a roof over your head without paying them. You can't travel on the trade routes without paying them. You can't have a baby without paying them. You can't do whatever the fuck it is without paying them, unless you get to the point where you know how not to pay them. And the way to figure that out is to learn what the words mean, and you're going to have to study some law, and you're not going to figure it out between now and Sunday. If this is new to you, even if it's not new to you. Some of us have been doing this for years and years and years. The Stop the Pirates guy, I think it's been 20 years he's been doing this. There's a lot of guys I've run into in this group of people that it's at least 20 years of study. And because there was a time when we didn't understand the very simple concept that the United States Corporation and the United States of America weren't the same thing. That's how effective their mind control was. USA, and even though it was right in front of us, right? USA, US. They're not same. United States of America, the same thing. US person. Man, they're not the same. Now, if you have any evidence that says that a man and a U.S. person are the same thing, and that I am the legal fiction that is in all caps on the birth certificate, please let me know. You got 30 days. If you don't inform me within 30 days, I'm going to assume that my statement, I'm going to make the presumption based on your silence, because how many ways are there to respond to a presentment? Right? And they respond with silence. Silence agrees. That's a maximum law. If you don't respond, you're agreeing. So is a man and a U.S. person the same thing? Is United States Corporation and United States of America the same thing? Are these contracts fraudulent? And half the time you ask them for a contract, I was in court. Can I have a contract? Can you show me the contract that we have? They just tried to ignore me. I wouldn't let them. But the idea being is that I don't have a contract with these private corporations, and I have to have a contract, right? You have to be, and see, this is part of their, like I said, their fucked up psychology, and their ways of getting around karma is trying to get you to volunteer over here, right? You have to volunteer for the military. They don't conscript you. You have to volunteer. Okay, because voluntary servitude is allowed. Involuntary servitude, not allowed, and naughty, naughty. So if they fraudulently get you to come over here without disclosure, without informing you, now you learn to love it, because it's how you get free. And I'm not joking, right? Those books are designed to enslave the wise and, to set the wise free and enslave the foolish, right? They are designed to enslave the foolish with their words, and set the wise man free. And it's the same books, it's the same knowledge, it's the same information. So you need to study what the hell these people are, so that you can get to the. And this is the other thing, as in the Lord of the Rings, where Saruman got a little too deep into the studies of the Dark Lord and the all-seeing eye, and he was seduced, and became part of that. He became part of the problem. So I will caution you greatly, especially when if you start falling down some of these rabbit holes, because there is a thing that we call magic. It's not really magic. It's actually intrinsic to the human. But the idea is that once you start falling down some of these rabbit holes, you can be seduced. So I spent a lot of time studying some of these Masons and some of these Satanists and Luciferians and what they have to say, because they hold the old knowledge. But that's the white light. The white light is blinding, right? The white light is not for seeing. The white light is blinding. You want sunlight. You want the golden light. You want Christ Jesus. You don't want Lucifer. The problem is, and this is blasphemy to most of them, is it's a coin, and it's the same coin. So what side of the coin are you on? Are you on the left-hand path, or are you on the right-hand path? Right? The knowledge doesn't care, right? The knowledge doesn't give a shit how you use it. You can use it to set yourself free, or you can use it to enslave others. And many are more than willing to enslave you and others because of your ignorance, because of your hate of their basic understandings, their basic tenets. But the bottom line is you need to figure out how to get out. See, and then I should put these in the right places. USA is on that side. US is on this side. Man, I already got man over here. What else? The corporations are on this side. The living man that writes by his own hand and has free will, and I can't even do it, rights. And by the way, those rights, oops, what do I do? Go right here. Clearly stated numerous times, we are born free. Now, once your mommy or daddy puts that birth certificate in, there goes the freedom right out the window. Once your mommy and daddy decides that they're going to be pledging to various corporations, yeah, that freedom goes right out the window. And again, nobody made them do that. They volunteered. They did it on their own. They did it in ignorance. They did it without understanding what the fuck it is they were doing to you. And you did it to your children. I can say directly, my name appears on no birth certificate of any kind anywhere, because I understood what that document was. Well, to say I understood it completely, no. But I understood it was a bad thing and I didn't want to do it. I understood that much. Let's put it that way. Because to say that I understood this whole freaking crazy system that they set up, and all of the apostilles and understanding wills and so forth. All right. The other part that I didn't talk about over here is that you got to stand on that square. And I talk about this every time. So, because I'm going to cover, and I look back at my videos, and it's just, I'm basically at the point, I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. 5 ways to respond to a presentment. Yes. No. That's belligerent. Don't do that. Right? Always, right? Wrong guy. In other words, yeah, it's my name's Joe Smith, but there's a lot of guys named Joe Smith, and that's not the right Joe Smith. Or you want the Joe Smith that lives down the road, or it's not even Joe Smith you want Joe Blow. Right? Anyway, wrong person. Conditional acceptance. This is the way you want to do most things. This is the bing, bing, bing. This is the one you want. You need to understand about conditional acceptance. I will take your shot if you can show me that it is without risk, that it has health benefits, that it doesn't have ingredients that are detrimental to me. I'll take the shot if you can prove that. If you can prove that you don't need, that you have a no liability clause because the thing is safe. They can't do it. Anyway, conditional acceptance. I will pay that bill if you can show me that I have a contract with your corporation. And the last way to respond, and the worst way to respond, is with silence. This basically says yes. And this one basically say yes. All right, so you get a bill, you pay the bill. which is why they call you pagans. Or you can respond with silence and not pay it. But if you're responding with silence, agrees. All right. Those are the 5. That's the only 5 ways you can do it. And conditional acceptance, then you need to know about, some people call it notarial protest method. It's this 3-stage method. One, where you basically have an affidavit and make some declarations or make some statements in that affidavit that need to be rebutted. That might be your conditional acceptance. Hey, can you show me that you loan me anything? By the way, can you show me that I have a contract with your corporation? Can you show me that I'm not a man? Can you show me that I'm the same thing as that corporate fiction that you made up, this bullshit system wherein you try to say that I'm the same thing as that all caps thing that my mommy informed on me on this form? Can you show me that I'm the same thing? Because I have no. Can you show me that I'm the infant? Can you show me that I am a ward of the state? Can you show me? All right. And then you say, hey, I sent you this thing 30 days ago or however long ago it was, and you didn't, right? So now you are in default. So this is a verified letter of default letting you know that you're in default. I'm sure this is through no fault of your own. But so here I am. I'm giving it to you a second time so there can be no mistake. Right? Same thing. Hey, I need your Form 90. Hey, I need your oaths of office. Hey, I need to see that you are a tax exempt. What's the word I want? I want tax exempt, not for profit government entity. There you go. Or are you in fact a taxable for profit private corporation? It's the second one. Anyway, but they ain't telling you that. And you can't prove that until such time as you bring it out in the open. And again, you bringing this out in the open doesn't overturn the whole system. It's one case, one time, in that one instance, in that one courtroom, on that one day. All right. After you give them an affidavit of default and let them know, hey, I sent you this, and don't put stupid shit in here that you don't know, and you don't know what the words mean, and you can't cite law, you can't cite, right? And again, just simple, right? Pen mightier than sword. All right, then you give them the default notice, because all of our law is Christian law in this country. So he who dishonors first loses. So you give them the opportunity to respond, and you give them the opportunity and notice that they've defaulted, that they've dishonored you with silence, and that they haven't responded to your, and 99% of the time, that's what they do. They just respond with silence. I had one time where I had like 32 points and they responded to one of them and then billed me for it. It's awesome. Anyway, default notice. And then finally, after, this is usually 30 days, generally, this is usually 10 to 15 days. And then finally, you got 3 days after that. And this is the verified default. Okay. Verified, oops, let me put it this way. Verified affidavit of default. Now, again, when you come to, if you do it, there's multiple ways to go about endorsing the documents, and you need to find out that contract law and so forth. So read Contract Law for Dummies. Now, if it's in your own hand and in your own writing, and you put your own seals on it and all that other stuff, and stamps and thumbprints and so on, need for notary, not so much. Some of them won't take it, some of them will. Depends on the venue and where you are and what you're doing and so on, right? But a lot of it, they have statutes on the books that say that they have to take it from you because, you know, notaries charge money. But you can get a notary, but understand that if you get a notary, right, you get this notarial, that's why it's notary process, but this is just administrative process. If you get the notary, you're going to sometimes need to have that second notary from the AG, the Attorney General, or the clerk of the court that says that this notary is the real deal, that this is an actual notary, that you didn't just get a stamp from somebody and stamp your paper, because anybody can get a notarial seal, it turns out. So your governments and a lot of the courts and a lot of other different places don't take it if it just has one notary on it. You have to have the attachment that says that that notary is in good standing with the state or whatever organization, it's usually the state, that that notary is a real notary. Right? This is not a thing to screw you up. It's because we were ignorant of the law. We didn't understand how easy it is to get a notary. There are a lot of places, banks and other companies, that they They don't do that requirement, and that's how they are able to change the ownership. Your tenant, but we'll just use words that you understand, on those documents that have to do with your house and so forth, mortgage papers and so on, wherein they basically change the paperwork using a fake notary, and the state or whoever it is, recorder, accepts it, and now they go in and, like I said, put second mortgages on, extract as much wealth out of that property as possible, and then leave you with the bill. And then people come to your door and to evict you, and you didn't even know that these guys were had done anything. So anyway, there's services out there that will, and I'll put links below again. I think I'm repeating myself. But anyway, the idea being is that these people are not tax exempt, not-for-profit government entities. They are taxable, for-profit private corporations. And in order for them to deal with you, you have to get you to traverse into the land of the dead, because they cannot deal with non-corporate fictions. They can only deal with corporate fictions. So you need to ask them, how did I become a corporate fiction? Oh, that's right, because I have all these fucking adhesion contracts. I have this voter registration form that says I need representation. I have this license that says I need to, that I have to pay you in order to travel on the trade routes that I thought were roads and highways. On and on. I have this other certificate that says this and that. I have a marriage. I have all these different things that put me over here in the land of the dead. So what you need to do is knock them off one at a time. Right? Rescind the voter registration. Right? Liquidate, and all the different words that I use, depending on the situation that you're in. Yeah, see, I have just Boku notes. But yeah, you want to, there it is. You want to void all those contracts. You want to cancel the contracts. You want to revoke signatures. You want to purge all of these adhesion contracts. You want to dissolve, terminate, revoke, rescind, and suspend. You want to vacate, discharge, and collapse, and liquidate. All of that. Those are the words you want to use when you're informing these lying bastards that are slavers, right? Because when you start to understand the bondage situation that we're in, doing it the rest of the way, where in fact they take children and rape and sodomize and for their own pleasures, but also for their own crazy fucking rituals and so on, which, like I said, coming up right here on the solstice in September, people start to correlate the fact that, yeah, a lot of children start disappearing around the satanic holidays, and you don't know what the satanic holidays are, so you don't know when to keep an extra eye on your children. And that's once again going into that thing. Like I said, don't get seduced, but you fucking need to know about the that you need to know about the different things that are going on out there when it comes to the Satanists and the Luciferians and the Saturnists. Basically, what the Saturnists are, there are two types of Saturnists. Actually, there's way more than that, but when it comes to that right there, there are the left hand and the right hand pathers. These guys will do any kind of fraud and trickery and deceit to get money. These guys will sacrifice children. These guys are just their left hand, right? And see, they take the right-handers, and there's a lot of these people that are good people, but they turn them into left-handers without their even knowing it, because did you abort that? You killed your own child. Are you on the right-hand path? Or are you on the left-hand path? A left-hand path harms children. Right-hand path nurtures children. How hard is it for you to understand? Right? And so they trick you into thinking that for any reason at any time, up until the 9th month, you can have an abortion. There was, back in the day, when we were first arguing the points, under very special circumstance, when the life of the mother or the life of the child or a bunch of others, right? Okay, but no, now they've got it anytime, any place, anywhere, up to the 9th month, no issue. Left-hand path, harming of children. I am pro-abortion, by the way. I'm glad my mother didn't have one, but I mean, if a woman wants to have an abortion, well, she's choosing left-hand path. Killing her own child because she doesn't want the baby to grow up poor, because she's not ready for it in life. I'm only 16. Because whatever the fuck it is. They have you tricked into thinking that the left-hand path is okay because science or because whatever. And it's not, I mean, it's not even a living person anyway. You're just killing a baby. That's not a living thing. They don't even have feelings, right? Fucking take the organs out and don't even give them anesthesia, right? I mean, just the most disgusting. And they have admitted this on tape. You can find it. Gregg Hunter was disgusted when he found out that, they figured out that the closer it is to 9 months, you harvest that organ and then put it in the person. And see, this is what's happening in not just China, but here in the United States. You need a kidney, or liver transplant. All right. And you're wealthy. And then some peon down here, one of the poor people, one of the sklagglers in the mud down here, happens to have a data match. And you know how they got the data match? Because they tricked you into figuring out, you want to know your heritage, don't you? You want to know your lineage? Here, you can get this 24/7, whatever the fuck it's called, to find out. Oh, now we've got your genetic profile, and you match. Well, you're guilty of, see how that works? And then they hack your liver out and give it to this guy. Or you're a young woman who's in trouble, and they have the data match, and they're like, hey, I tell you what, have this abortion and give us the baby, and we'll give you XYZ dollars. This person gets their liver, and you get heart and eyes and brain and all kind of other stuff in there. This person gets the money, and she, gets the burden of having a baby lifted from her. In China, it's not always that way. In China, they do horrifyingly evil things when it comes to, wealthy people need a kidney, and a week later, some poor person from one of the various lower classes is charged with a crime. And literally, you can find documentaries about this where they have them lined up, and the fucking doctors are there with dry ice and scalpels waiting. Right? And sometimes they don't even wait for them to die. Right? They don't kill them first. They take the organs and then they kill them. No anesthesia. These people are beyond your. See, this is the thing. You can't wrap your mind around. I was just having this conversation with another person that's quote unquote kind of sort of outside the fold, but they agreed that because you can't wrap your mind around it, if you can't wrap your mind around it, you can't wrap your mind around it. So you can't understand that there would be humans that are this evil, because you would never consider doing the things that these people do. It wouldn't even occur to you. It's not in your consciousness. So that's why they get away with it, because you can't conceive of it. You can't believe it. There are people that you can straight up show them the information and they can't believe it. They straight up can't believe it. Right? They literally can't, listen to the words I'm using, believe it. They can't. It's not possible for them to understand. It's not possible for them to make the association that these people could do these things to babies. Doesn't make them bad people, just means they can't, right? Actually makes them good people, because they're good enough that they can't even wrap their minds around it. All right. I talked about HHO. I talked about my little list here. I talked about HHO. I talked about the fact that it's really this simple, right? It's just cut in two. You either dead or live. Simple as that. Corporations over here, man over there. Never the two, right? I should have had that Bible passage written down. But basically, don't try to joinder, right? Don't try to put together what shouldn't be put together. What ought not be joined should not be joined. Paper and flesh should not be joined. Talked about that. Talked about the fact that it's really, when you get right down to it, it's complicated, but it's really simple. Right? They cannot deal with men and women. They have to convert you into wards. They have to convert you into dead things. They have to convert you into corporate fictions. They have a rather complicated way of doing that, but basically it's based on your ignorance. Because there is no involuntary servitude, but there is voluntary servitude. And the other thing they figured out they can do is that, and it says it right in that Fourth Amendment, that, unless like punishment for a crime or something like that. So what do? They make growing plants illegal. Simple as that. They make not wearing your seatbelt illegal. So now they can punish you for crimes. Right? It's no longer involuntary servitude. It's voluntary servitude, because you volunteered to be part of the corporation wherein they transmorgified you from this living man, woman, into this corporate dead thing that is subject to their law. And oh, stay on the square. They converted square into a bad thing. You're square. Well, yeah, you want to be square. Cause no one any loss. So you want to go down there and peacefully protest? Go ahead and peacefully protest. There were huge. This is another thing they don't talk about in our mainstream media. Ooh, one more thing. Put that there. Put that there. I started to talk about it before I quit. So anyway, all over Europe and Germany and Britain and so forth, huge demonstrations of people. And they try to say they're protesting against Bill Gates and vaccine. No, they were protesting against the mask. They were protesting against tyranny. They were letting the government know that they'd had enough, and that you can't mask us and you can't tell us that we can't drive within 5 kilometers of our house like that, right? Aren't you Australians so pleased that you were so righteous that you gave up your guns? Aren't you just pleased with yourselves? Huh? Because I had Australians wagging their finger at me at a party not too long ago, talking about how much more civilized they were because they gave up their guns, and the Americans won't give up our guns. Right? Those are Americans, not the U.S. persons. Right? So now give up their guns, and the Americans won't give up our guns. Right? Those are Americans, not the U.S. persons. Right? So now these people in Victoria, they ain't gonna rise up. They can't. Them got guns. You got no guns. Anyway, cause no one any loss. And I'll put links. Do I need to put links? I'm sure this crowd was aware of the fact that there were huge, I mean, Germany, all over the place. Spain, like I said, London, France, obviously, Italy, huge. Switzerland, tremendously huge protests against this Rona bullshit. But they did it peacefully. They weren't breaking windows. They weren't burning shit down. See, and this is the other thing that's beautiful. The theater that you're watching is now you can see that the mainstream media in the United States, complete liars. Just lie. That's all they do. They just lie. And that kid, the Kenosha kid, he's going to, I mean, that other guy whose name I can't remember at the moment, who won hundreds of millions from CNN and so forth, the guy where the Indian was beating the drum at him, and he was just standing there, and they turned it in, they changed the story and defamed this child. And anyway, this other guy is being called a murderer when all he did was, at the very end, when they were just about to start beating on him, finally defended himself. And he had an AR-15. So you bring a skateboard to it, and that guy was a pedophile, and the other guys were felons, and it was self-defense. They're going to have a hell of a time with that. Anyway, cause no one any loss. Don't disturb the peace. No mischief in your contracts. All right, so don't disturb the peace. Don't cause anybody any loss. No mischief in your contracts. Right? Cause no one any harm. Right? Don't destroy any property. I mean, it's pretty simple. Don't lie, cheat, and steal. Obey the 10 Commandments, but stay on your square, where you don't disturb the peace, you don't have mischief in your contracts, and others. So when you do that 3-step process, like I said, this thing has to be correct. You can't call yourself the king as I am. You can't use all manner of things. You can't make declarations that aren't true. You can't say that you're black so that you can get reparations or whatever when you're not. You can't say that whatever, right? And really, reparations, that whole thing is just ridiculous. All right, so. And when you're peacefully protesting, that is protected. That is an inalienable right. You have the right to protest, right? But you don't have the right to cause harm and loss, right? You can't hurt another person. You can't cause their business to burn down, and you can't have mischief in your contracts. All right, so if you stay on that square, you're good. If you step off of this square by harming or property damage or whatever, some guy like the Kenosha kid might come along and change your day. Anyway, and then I want to talk about this because have you noticed that it's, as I make this, it is a Tuesday. It is September. What is this, the 8th? I don't know what day it is. Yes, it is the 8th of September. Snow in the Rockies. Some of the earliest snow ever on record. I'll put a couple links down there. Are you hearing about this? Because no, you're hearing about heat waves and you're hearing about fires. Hardly. And oddly enough, that hasn't really been as much. I thought that they would make bigger news about the fact that the country, the western portion, and take a look at what's burning. Those are government lands that seem to be burning. But anyway, we had snow in the Rockies. One of the earliest snowstorms ever. Last year we had snow and if you go back and look at my videos, you'll see that I'm prescient or psychic or something, or maybe I can just do math. It was October. Now it's September. And then it snows in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. May. Ooh, seems to be snowing and snowy and snow on the ground for more than 6 months of the year because it's getting warmer, right? Anyway, take a look at this. Climate change is the same guys that told you about this and lied and lied and lied and lied. The same guys that talk to you about climate change. The same guys that are talking to you about the same guys that tell you that this guy is a murderer. Yeah, they're all lying liars who lie. And what you're doing right now is watching lovely theater. Because, again, terms of surrender have pretty much already been negotiated. And we are moving from the Piscean age to the age of Aquarius. I've seen stuff where, if you look at the calendars, we're off by days, months, years. But the bottom line is the Piscean age has come to an end. The Aquarian age is beginning. We do not make the transfer from Piscean age to Aquarian age without some turbulence, without some casualties. There's going to be some gnashing of teeth and loss of teeth and abrasions and casualties. Your job is to educate yourself and your children well enough so that you are not a casualty as we make this transition. Is it crazy talk? Is it more crazy talk, or are you understanding what I'm saying? Because this, I don't care where you come from or what your belief system is, and if you hate Masons or if you love them, it doesn't matter. We are moving from, and again, if you don't have to believe this shit, you don't have to believe any of this stuff. In fact, they would prefer it if you didn't believe it, slave, because you can't set yourself free if you don't read their information. And because you standing up in court and saying that I don't, pardon me, that I don't consent. I don't consent. Cool. We got the guns and clubs. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, that's right. Not a goddamn thing. You're going to jail. All right. But if you understand what paperwork to file and have filed it in advance, and you've let it season, as it were, you've let the 30 days go by, so that you've had opportunity to respond, and they haven't. All right. Now, and then also, I don't have it with me, but when you get your seals and stamps and so forth made, they start to realize that you didn't just come about this yesterday, right? Or, this morning when you were looking on the internet to figure out what to do about going to court. You have a body of knowledge, and you seem to understand some of the fictions, and they will treat you differently. Promise. If you are respectable, you stay on your square. You're not in there being a belligerent idiot, but understand that you're classified a belligerent. You are an enemy. Go back and watch The Enemy of the State. But you are basically an enemy of the state. Here, let's break this in a legible fashion. And you need to let them know that you are not an enemy of the state, that you are not belligerent, that you are capable of governing yourself, that you can stand on your square, that you are not an infant, and that you are the beneficial owner, the grantor and beneficial owner of this trust. And what they have tried to do to you, and others who are, I'm sure, agent provocateurs, is tried to make the beneficiary and the trustee the same. And that's what they've done. They've moved you into the position of trustee. And now you're in trouble, because the beneficiary, the beneficial owner, the beneficiary, and the trustee cannot be the same person. May not. The grantor over here, and you are the grantor, and the beneficiary, you set that trust up for yourself, and they intercede. Right? They come. This is right. This should be better like this. Right? They get in between the grantor and the beneficiary, and they pay themselves handsomely for your ignorance. So what you need to do is figure out who to make an executor, the executor of this thing, collapse this whole trust, get rid of the whole thing, right? And move into the world of the living. So you need to vacate, discharge, collapse, and liquidate. You need to void and terminate those things that were made without full disclosure and without your knowledge and in your ignorance, right? They defrauded you. They consider you a sumsit. You are non-assumpsit. You're not going along with this because you know what the fuck's going on. You're going along with this because you're ignorant and they didn't disclose you this information because they sent you to slave school where you thought a United States person and a American citizen were the same thing, and that an American national were the same thing. They didn't tell you about passports. They didn't tell you about your right to travel. They didn't tell you about your inalienable rights. They told you about civil rights and civil liberties that they can take and give to you at their leisure upon a whim. They write shit down on a piece of paper, and now all of a sudden, that right that you thought you had to feed yourself has been turned into a need for a license because you got to get a hunting license to kill that deer so you can feed your family. Now, this is the same damn system they've been using. They modify and change things around so you can't figure it out. But it's the same reason why Robin Hood was doing his Robin Hood stuff, and the Spanish have Zorro. And I mean, all these other people that were fighting against the state, but they don't tell you about the dirty details. They give you vague generalizations. So you got to cut down to the point where you understand. You got to collapse these trusts and become, take your place among men and women in the land of the living. And you need to put to rest these corporate fictions that they have made for you. There's a way to do it. There's a process to do it. There are others who will tell you how to do these things, but it's as simple as that. You are a man. You are not a person, right? Unless they define person as living, breathing flesh, which they almost never do. It's corporate personhood. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about on the notes, yes, it is, David Wynn Miller and his parse syntax. It's awesome. It is. It's great. Not recognized. Most people can't understand it, and you could do it for fun. But the fact that he copyrighted it and wanted to make money off of it, that's clue one. And secondly, the fact that most people, are there people that have accepted the fact that, oh, wait a minute, this is a better way to go? Yeah, but is that your court? Is that your state? Is that your... No, it's not. So what you need to do is talk to them in a language that they understand and you understand. And you need to know what the words mean. If you want to go down that parse syntax road, I don't have any issue with it, but I don't think you're going to get very far with it when it comes to, unless, and of course, you can get to the point where you can get them to recognize your status. That's basically what you're doing is writing them letters that say, hey, you need to recognize the fact that I'm alive. That's what it boils down to, that you're a living man or woman, and that's right, and you're not a corporate fiction. And that you're not this trust, you're not a trustee, you're not the executor of this trust, you are the beneficiary of this trust. You have a certificate that tells you that this trust has been set up. It's called a birth certificate, and you need to liquidate and collapse everything that has to do with that dead man's chest. And the first thing that Johnny Depp, or excuse me, it's not Johnny Depp, he's just playing a character, Captain Jack Sparrow does is walk in there and say, I'm not dead. That's what you got to do. You got to walk in there and let them know via your paperwork that you ain't dead, that you're a living thing, a living, breathing thing. And then the part of the parse syntax that was very important, and I agree with, you got to define the words that you use. You have to put a glossary, some terms in the back of your documents. And you can I even did this in court. Do you agree with my terms? What was I saying? My terms are the definitions of the words that I use in these documents. Are there any words that you don't agree with? Right? Because when I say person, I don't mean man or woman. Those are not synonymous. When I say man or woman, I don't mean corporate fiction. When I say authorized representative, I mean I am authorized to represent, but I am Joe Blow, right? And that's not my name. That's who I am. Do you get it? Where do you live? Wherever I'm standing. You need to know about 3-cent stamps and the universal postal system. You need to know about IGs, and I'm not even going to get into it because there's so many of them. But there are inspector generals that are on the other side, where you are considered to be a belligerent enemy of the state. Then you got to let some of those IGs know that, no, wait, I'm on your side. I want to come over to this side. I want to come over to being a Article 4 living, breathing person or man, woman with inalienable rights. And if you say person, then you need to define person as including the term, right? The living man and woman. Right? That it also means corporation, that it also means state, that it also means all these different things. And but you're taking it as meaning living man or woman. And if I'm not a living man and woman or woman, what am I? Am I not a man? Right? I am a man, am I not? You are a corporation, are you not? All right. How are we having any kind of Congress if you are a corporation and I'm a living thing? You have to convert me into a dead thing, or I have to authorize this via this dead thing so that we can do business, legal business. Otherwise, we can't do business. And if you can't do business with me, then why am I standing here in your courtroom? All right, this stuff needs to be handled before you walk into the courtroom, before the guy pulls you over for whatever the fuck it is, before they come and inspect whatever the hell it is, before all of this happens, you need to let them know. So in the meantime, you want to keep your head down, learn as much as you can, play along, right? Tall Poppy gets the head cut off, right? Play along until such time as you are ready and willing and able to file the paperwork in the appropriate places, because you know what to do, you know what to say, and who to say it to. Okie I think that's about it. Again, I'll go back and look at my things. My videos. It's the same damn thing over and over again. I can sit there. Since I'm on a roll, and like I said, it's 9/11 ranting. Here is the root of all evil. There is the root of all evil. They took control of our currency. They took control of the money. Therefore, they are absolute master of all commerce. See, so you and I have a hard time doing anything with anybody without these fuckers getting a piece of it. Right? And what do we use for medium of exchange? Federal Reserve notes, which are evidence of debt. They pay the slaves with debt. Gold is the money of kings. Silver is the money of gentlemen. Barter is the money of peasants. Debt is the money of slaves. What do we use? What do I have in my wallet? What's in your wallet? Debt is what's in my wallet. So, that would make me a slave, wouldn't it? So if me was you, and I can get into it because my numbers go look at the federal debt clock. And last I checked, I'll put a video. I haven't checked it since I should have checked it before this. It was 477 of these things to every one of a silver coin. One OZ of silver. 4,000. I remember when it was 800 something, I was going, holy cow. And then it went up to 1,000. And now in the last years, since say January till now, it's now like $4,000 for every ounce of silver out there. That's how much they've inflated the money supply. Do I think that silver is going to $4,000 an ounce? Is it going to more than what it is now? Yes. Is there less above ground silver than there is above ground gold? Yes. So therefore, eventually, when the Federal Reserve and the bankers and all the other shyster lying fuckers that are out there suppressing gold and silver and making it so that you want to use their paper fiat currency, which is coming to an end, that there is no mistake. And see, this is the thing. Our Lady of Grace Trumpy, the Trumposaurus Rex, he took the Federal Reserve banks and he merged it into United States Corporation's Treasury Department. And actually, it's the Treasury Department of the Treasury. It's not the Treasury Department of the du jour USA. It's the U.S. Corporation's Treasury Department. This was a private corporation. This private corporation has been merged into this. And I don't know what happens next. But all of these different agencies and corporate, IRS is its own private corporation. Figured that out. That, well, the Department of Department of the Treasury, IRS, is a private corporation. Federal Reserve, private corporation. They print money. These guys, right? Judiciary for the state of Hawaii is a private corporation. County of Maui is a private corporation. I can go on and on. These are all private corporations. In order for you to deal with all of these private corporations, they had to convert you from man and traverse you over here into corp. Right? You've been incorporated. You need to get back over here and not be. And same thing for them to do medical tyranny on you. They have no control over that, but they have control over this corporate. They can vax you. They can take your children. They can do all manner of stuff because they have control over this chattel property, over the corporation that they've converted you into. They have no control over this. But this doesn't let them know, right? So you have no pay. And this process doesn't happen in a day. This process doesn't happen with you standing up in court and saying you don't consent. This process happens when you do the steps that it takes. And they have made this rabbit hole go deep, and they've made lots of pitfalls and traps and snares so that you don't get through the other end as a living man or woman who breathes air and is of flesh and blood. Right? They've done everything they can to stop you from getting there via all manner of pitfalls and so forth. You trying to get over here, and you wind up in prison because you did stupid stuff like write bonds. Don't write bonds. Anyway, don't throw liens and levies on people that you don't have any ability without getting a judgment first. Once you get your judgment, now you can throw liens and levies, but don't throw liens and levies on judges or public officials or anything like that until such time as you've gone through the process wherein you have a lien. Wherein you have a judgment. Then you can do a lien. See, again, misspoke. But the idea is, while you're a bonded slave, you have no standing to do any of this in the first place. So first things first. Never mind the money. Never mind the free cars. Never mind the fact that, yeah, they'll pay your electric bill. Yeah, they'll pay your water bill. Yeah, all that stuff's taken care of. Never fucking mind any of that stuff. First things first, you want to secure your freedom. You want to secure your liberty. You want to secure your inalienable rights. Born free. Right? But not if you just let them assume, make assumptions about you. Right? Then you become assumpsit. Right? You are non-assumption. All of your presumptions and all that shit when it comes to these documents that I have inadvertently or fraudulently been tricked into signing and all those adhesion contracts, yeah, fuck all that. I'm getting rid of it. That's basically what you're saying. We're going to start over and start fresh. Now, because it's a tangled web, you may need to actually give power of attorney, limited power of attorney, that expires by a certain date so that they can't later on come back and fuck you, to various people so that they can sort out the problems that you have created for yourself. These are public servants. That's what they're there to do. They don't want to do their job, though. They just want to get paid. So you need to put a little leverage on them to make them do their job. But the idea is that if you are going to move from one side to the other and get out from underneath the whore of Babylon, there's paperwork to be done. Okay. Holy cow, there's all kind of comments over here. I stopped it. I hate Freemasonry. I hate Freemasonry too, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to understand what Freemasonry is and understand the tenets. And like I said, don't get seduced because there's a lot of information out there from the Saturnists, the Luciferians, and the Satanists that sounds really good on the surface. But if you take just a slightly deeper look, it's left-hand path. Left-hand path harms children. Right-hand path nurtures children. This should be the fucking easiest choice you've ever had to make. Right? Ooh, but I don't want the baby to be alive because I don't have to support it. Fuck you, daddy. Right? Anyway, let's see here. Yes, absolutely. Numerology and duality and the thing called gematria. You want to know about that because those dates and those times and that astrology, the study of time. It is that other dimension in this dimension that you need to understand a little bit about. And they have a huge amount of literature and knowledge behind that gematria and numerology and so forth. And there seems to be something to it. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, thanks. The guy put a whole bunch of hashtags over here. Put them underneath this video so that they can click hashtags in the comments, not just over here. Let's see here. Alrighty, let's talk about that just briefly. Did I go off the page? I did. Elite transgenderism. And body doubles. If you take a close look at some of the people who you think are famous celebrities and politicians and compare them with, especially the ears, they can't do the ear thing because most of you are ignorant on the fact that an ear is like a fingerprint. Fingerprints are definitely, but you're never going to get a fingerprint. This thing, oh, look, I seem to be, I have the feature that males have, this thing right here, this thing called the Adam's apple that women do not have. You will see a lot of those who are masquerading as women have this Adam's apple, and they do everything they can do to try to hide it. But yeah, they're deceivers. That's what they do. I don't know if it's, I mean, a lot of people that you think are one thing are another thing. I'll leave that comment alone. Yeah, I do see crypto as being part of the new age as a control mechanism, not as the thing that sets you free. Okay, I'll take it. The one eye, the all-seeing eye, absolutely. And contracts, that was the thing. And thanks for the thumb up. All right, that covers pretty much all the comments down there. Sometimes I get some good ones. So those of you that are having to deal with, say, various agencies that have to do with permitting, permitting you to, see, this is why I'm not going to do anything in the United States. My property will be in other countries wherein I don't need a permit to build something. And I don't pay tax. I have a friend who has hundreds of acres in a certain country, no tax. And you don't file for a building permit, you build your house. And if your house falls down on you, you're a dumbass and it's your own damn fault. Government's not your keeper. But we prefer to be protected by our governments, just as long as we write them lots and lots of checks and let them come on our property and tell us what to do. You can change that by changing your status. That doesn't mean they'll just leave you alone, but when they come and fuck with you, you can fuck with them right back. All right, I think I'm done. But yeah, elite transgenderism, they've been fooling us with this where the men have been women and women have been men forever. Mike is one of them, very clear, should be pretty obvious if you take a closer look. I mean, there's the, right? But I mean, it's not just that. There's lots of them that have been fooling with this because if you look at their canon, if you look, right, is male, female, right? And you're supposed to, this dualist thing, I didn't do it, barely. That thing right there, you're supposed to transcend that. That's one of the things that with the 7 hermetic principles, that's one of the things you're supposed to get past, which is gender. But go look up the 7 hermetic principles and study them. Mentalism, starting, gender, right? And then there is, and this is the other thing I've noticed when I look it up, especially on Google, they fuck with the order, right? Because rhythm and correspondence and vibration and so forth, there's a definite order to it. There's 7, that's the 7 pillars, right? I thought I was ending this video. So anyways, 7 hermetic principles, 7 deadly sins, 7 heavenly virtues. All right. Oh, look, there's 3 of them. Ah. So when you see a lot of the Freemason things, you'll see the 7 pillars and this perfect triangle and so forth, and the little symbol in there. Some of them you'll see they do 1 sets of 7, like the Bank of England. There'll be sets of 7, 3 sets of 7, and then on top of that there'll be the 5, and then anyway, and then they'll have the triangle. But anyway, the idea being is that you need to study these 7 things. These are the deadly sins, right? Don't fall into the sins, and the heavenly virtues. Right? Because if you don't know the virtues, you'll have the sins, and if you do, and if you don't understand these, the Hermetic principles won't make much difference in your life either. But if you follow the 7 Hermetic principles, understand and stay away from the 7 deadly sins, try to be virtuous. That will allow you to stand in your square, where you cause no loss, where you cause no harm, where you don't disturb the peace, and where you don't have mischief in your contracts. In other words, you don't lie, you keep your word. Because that's the problem, and this is what they've found, is that a man's word, my favorite thing about Idaho and Montana is that we did deals on handshakes. Right? And if you couldn't keep your word, you would be ostracized and you wouldn't be able to do any more deals in the very near future. Very simple. A man that didn't have his word has nothing. So what you're trying to do is put your word, hi, I'm a living thing, on paper. All right. So, and the Indians and many others were here and told you that the paper cannot hold up the blood. All right. So a lot of times they would sign in blood. There is a sign, big sign, down at my courthouse. They will accept nothing signed in blood. They will accept no piece of paper that has blood on it, because Corona and because blah, 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 because, right? But the paper cannot hold the iron. So you need to put a thumbprint on that thing. Your signature, you need to know mark, signature, and autograph. You need to, oops, I don't have the book. If you are making an agreement, then you need to put a 5-cent stamp on that thing. You need to understand that you have a depository that allows you to do commerce and allows you to be in the world of commerce. So I can get mail at that place. I can also get post at that place. Is there a difference between post and mail? Yes, there is, and you should know it. And I have playlists that talk about the 3-cent stamps and so forth. Anyway, I'm quitting. I've talked myself silly. And also I needed to drink something. But the idea being is that, yeah, the anniversary of the stupid is coming up. In the old days, back in my day, you couldn't tell if somebody was a stupid fucking sheep that believed bullshit that the media spewed at them and turned their brain into toilet bowls wherein they spit shit out their mouth about, well, you know, office fires cause steel beams that melt at way higher temperatures than an office fire could possibly even make to collapse these buildings. And of course, 2 planes knocked down 3 buildings. And of course, when the plane hits a building, that's designed. And I had been to those buildings, by the way, in my travels. Those were some of the buildings that I climbed to the top of. Same thing when I went to Chicago. Same thing when I go to San Francisco. Same thing when I go to any big city. I try to get to the top of the biggest buildings. And just to say I've been there. And I have. My son just recently found, you know, they have those machines where you put the penny in and then you grind it and it makes a little memento. Anyway, I have a collection of those from many tall buildings around the earth. I had been to the World Trade Center. Those buildings did not collapse at free fall speed because 2 little planes ran into them. There was a whole lot more going on that day than that. And it's taken this long for people to admit. Now, you got to go read How to Win Friends and Influence People, because they, to this day, many of them will never admit that they were wrong and that they had been duped and that they had been fooled, right? It is easier. What is that? That's Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. And why did Mark Twain and Samuel Clemens? Okay, anyway, names. In Legis, you need to know a little bit about that. But the idea being that... they'll never admit they were wrong. They'll never admit they were fooled. As he said, it is easier to fool somebody than to convince them that they've been fooled. So they ain't going to admit the fact that they fucked their economies. Fuck on Maui. Go to Lahaina. Front Street used to be a lovely place where you could go to art galleries. My sons could hobnob and rub elbows with famous artists from around the world that would come to those galleries on occasion for the tax write-offs. and talk about their art and famous sculptors and famous painters. All gone. All those galleries are closed now. Why? Because these fucking mouth-breathing mask wearers believed the guys that told them about 911 had their best interests at heart and told them to put a mask on, so they did. Closed all their businesses. Now our tourist industry is destroyed. Our state doesn't. Our state has got the number. What are we? Top 5 when it comes to delinquencies for mortgages. That's what's coming, and I'm seeing it now. And I've been sent email. Are you an accredited investor? They're forming pools of accredited investors to buy up real estate for cheap because they know that a lot of places, Front Street, Miracle Mile in Chicago, Fifth Avenue, and so forth, all of those retail businesses that are getting shuttered up, the landlords won't be able to make rent or won't be able to make their mortgages. They're going to go into default, and you're going to be able to buy that shit up for cheap. Didn't RoboCop have a story about how the politicians and the thugs got together to create criminal property damage and lower the price of properties so that the thugs could come in with their cronies in politics and buy up real estate for cheap? What a coincidence. Go back and watch RoboCop. Notice. They give us notice. Constantly, they give us notice. And again, like I said, don't count on guys like me. Go do your own research. It's all out there for you. They can't hide it from you. They must give you remedy, right? They don't have to tell you what the remedy is or how to get the remedy, but they must give you the remedy. So now all you got to do is find out what the remedy is and then apply it to your circumstance and situation. Simple. All right. But that's coming. Price of silver, get yourself some silver. Before you get silver, get food, right? Because you can't eat the silver. And again, before I got cut myself off earlier, they're going to make it so that a silver dime, one silver dime, that's like going to be having $100 bill. All silver has to do is go to $1,000 an ounce. Figure 14 dimes of our mercury dimes or whatever. It takes 14 of them to equal 1 OZ, 1 ounce. So if you think the price of silver is going to be $1,000, it's divide by 14, and that's how much so that's not going to be a little dime, right? Right now it's only worth like $6, but it's going to be worth a whole lot more than that, which is why I got nickels, because there's going to be a transition from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. You can't stop it. You can't avoid it. You can't go back to this. We're not going back. Not possible. So what you need to do is gird yourself, get yourself some knowledge and information, and make sure that when we're in this transition, you are not a casualty. We're going to go to the Aquarian age. For better or for worse, we're moving into the age of Aquarius. This is the age of enlightenment. We've turned the corner. We're getting out of the shadows and darkness. Knowledge and truth is here. Not everybody makes it. It's looking to me, they were going to try and knock down the population to about 500 million on the whole fucking planet. They were going to have 500 million. And they were going to have a very few elite and then about 500 million servants. It looks like they changed the plan. It's not much better. 2.6 billion. Well, we're currently 7 billion plus. So a reduction to 2.6. And all of you are sure that you're not going to be one of the 5 billion that gets reduced. I'm not so sure. Further, having done quite a bit of meditation and spent time, being on the other side isn't as bad as you guys want to make it out to be. But it's more fun over here. So maybe you want to stay on this side and raise children and play around in the prime material plane and go to the ocean and play in rivers and all the kind of fun stuff that you can do while you're here and create relationships and have fun events. And yeah, it turns out singing around the fire and sharing food, way more important than a big bank account. Who knew? Anyway, the idea being is that, yeah, they're changing the money. They're changing everything. You don't want to be one of the casualties, right? Because a lot of people, they can't even make it with the Rona, and they're killing themselves because they lost their business, because they, right? I mean, drug overdoses, husbands beating wives, wives beating husbands, children getting abused. All because you're rats in a cage with that mask on, believing the lying liars that told you about 911. See, and now you can see who believes the lying liars. Now you can see the ones that are susceptible to the programming that comes through these devices. I could spend I did a whole bunch of research on the concept of how do they program this mind, right? Step one, mind, get the mind. Frequency, right? Light and sound, frequency and vibration, certain light and okay. So through that device right there that you're staring at all the time, they can be programming you and you're not even aware. It's programming up below the conscious level. So what you need to do, and I believe it's been said many times in many places, until you make the unconscious conscious, you will believe in fate. What they're able to do now is amazing with the technology, is they can put thoughts in your head. They ain't your thoughts. You think they're your thoughts, but they're not your thoughts. You got them from the device. Yeah. Children particularly. But was it your thought to put a mask on? When I go out in public, and I've been having nothing but fun, I've worn a mask 3 times in all of this since March. 3 times. Every other place, I haven't put, I was one of the last guys before they really started cracking down over here, going to Costco and going to various places. Never put a mask on. Never put a mask on. I go to the post office. I don't put a mask on when I walk in there, and they don't say shit to me. When I go wherever it is, I don't put a mask on, except for Costco, because I'm not going to fight about it, and I'm not, any of that stuff. So I just put my mask on. It's a plague doctor mask, and everybody laughs, and people, anyway. It turns a negative thing into a positive thing, because it does. It makes me horrifyingly sad to see these people now wearing basically that mask says, I believe 911. I believe that the media is telling me the truth about Epstein. I believe, right? That's what that mask is basically saying. You can look around now and see who it is. Now, some of them are stealth, though, because here on Maui, on more than one occasion, especially when I'm wearing the plague doctor mask, people like, oh, good one. They know what I'm doing, right? They understand that I'm making fun of them. But I was at a farmer's market recently, and outdoors, these people are wearing masks. I didn't wear a mask. I was the only one there not in a mask. The mind control is very, very strong here, right? With the Jedi mind trick, the Jedi mind trick is very strong in the state of Hawaii, where this has been a Democrat state, will be a Democrat state. Ain't nothing waking these people up. But anyway, several people were like, yeah, they knew it was bullshit, but they want to put the mask on because they didn't want to be persecuted, or they didn't want other people to feel uncomfortable around them because, you might breathe on them. But they knew that it was bullshit, but they just weren't, right? Cowards, basically, right? They want to make up excuses, but basically it comes down to afraid to not wear a mask. But now, like I said, these people, the same people that believe that jet fuel melts steel beams, are the same people that have masks on, are the same people that are going to get vaccinated. The problem will take care of itself. They're going to drop the population down by a large amount, and part of that program is the vaccine. Now, understand, you get the vaccine, you ain't dying the next day, right? But now they have, and there's a lot of interesting things, that might make you a genetically modified organism, and if you accept the vaccine voluntarily, and you are chattel property, and you are everything that I've been talking about in this whole video for the last fucking way too long, 2 hours, you are going to be their property, aren't you? Because they genetically modified you, and they can't copyright something that they didn't, right? You can't take a taro plant, for example, and copyright that, right? But you can genetically modify the organism, and then you can try and copyright or patent that. So is it different with us humans? Well, what do you think? Yeah, there you go, right? An RNA vaccine that you accepted. Now, I see constantly on Facebook and other places, how do you not accept it? You don't not accept it. You don't say no, you belligerent ass. What you say is, I will take your vaccine if you can, A, show me that it's safe and effective. If you can show me that these ingredients are generally accepted as safe. If you can show me that I don't need recourse or liability, that your liability, or your exemption from liability is justified. If you can show me that, right, all these different things that they get, there's different vaccine places you can go and get the list. The idea being is that that's a conditional acceptance. Okay, so you're not going to be a belligerent. You're not going to be an ass that just says no. You're going to say, yes, yes, give me your, save me, NASA. Oh, I'm so happy that you gave me this thing. But I have a few questions and you need to answer, right? So I will conditionally accept your vaccine if you can show me this, 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 and this. And they can't because it's not safe, because those ingredients aren't good for you. Anyway, and those that do get this vaccine, now, is it going to kill them that day or that week? No. What I'm thinking is that now they've got the vaccine, now they can expose you to another toxin or another environmental thing, pathogen, and then you die. But you can't put two and two together, because if it killed you right off, they would have liability. So they're not going to have liability. They're going to make it seem like, oh no, everything's fine. And then you get exposed to something else and it kills you. There's already been some reports that there were certain vaccines that they gave our military men that when they were exposed, those people that got the vaccines died of this other thing. You understand, right? It's called compound poison. The mushroom cult understands it, right? So I eat this, and I'm fine. You eat this and this, and you're fine. We eat this and this together, this one, and we die. That's a compound poison. Sometimes it's not just a 2-stage, it's 2 or 3 or 4 that you have to get all 3 of them. You got to get the fluoride, you got to get that, right? You got to get everything together for it to work and kill you or cause you harm. But understand that the mushroom cult understands the concept of, yeah, I'll kill you dead with the radiation or mercury or so forth, but I can also kill you dead slow, right? Using sugar and fluoride and other things, right? That slowly kill you. And then I don't have any liability because you can't prove it was me that did it. These people are evil beyond your ability to conceive of evil. You can't wrap your mind around how evil these people are, right? Death just because of death, destruction just because of destruction, right? Go back and read The Lord of the Rings, right? The orcs hated themselves. They hated the elves, but they hated themselves more, right? These people hate themselves, but they hate us more, right? They hate what they've become, but right? Okay, and don't even kid yourself, right? Hate, yeah. Fear leads to anger and hatred. And hatred leads to the dark side. Hatred leads to the dark side every single time. Hatred leads to the dark side. You don't get into the path of light. You don't stay on the right-hand path with hate in your heart. You just don't. You can't. Sorry, that's not how it works. So what you have to do is figure out how to remove the hate from your heart. What you have to do is put a smile on your face, even when you don't feel like smiling sometimes. You have to realize that it's freaking hilarious that the guy that wrote the 1994 crime bill and that bitch, Kamala, but the guy that actually wrote the crime bill is not running for president, and Black Lives Matter is currently protesting for him, or I don't know the fuck how that organ, right? But giving them millions and millions. This is the guy that put more niggas in jail than you can shake your dick at, right? Go back and look at 1994. That's when you really start to see the zoom. And if you think the black community has forgotten who put mommy and daddy in jail by making, I mean, that crime bill, 3 strikes and you're out, and oh, if you use this kind of cocaine, you're going away forever. If you use that kind of cocaine, and right, and it turns out that the kind of cocaine that the black guys use is usually the crack cocaine and the powder cocaine, and it's the same fucking thing, right? Anyway, go back and read the 1994 crime bill and see who. It was Biden, and now Black Lives Matter is campaigning for Biden. Come on, it's funny. Come on. Am I the only one? I mean, it's funny. And if you don't see the humor, well, then you're going to have a bad day. Simple as that. Okay. So all I'm saying is that, yeah, you're not getting from Piscean to Aquarius with hate in your heart. That's exactly not how. So you want to carry the water, and you're going to have to carry water to get there. The water that you need to carry is knowledge and information, right? The knowledge that you need to carry is the fact that you are a divine being that was created by a god or the gods or a godlike entity, and that you have inalienable rights that were given to you by God. however you define that term. It wasn't given to you by the state. It wasn't given to you by United States. It wasn't given to you by some piece of fucking paper. It wasn't given to you by one of these books. You had them out of the chute, born free. And then you gave them up, or they were given up for you. Probably they were given up for you by somebody that was deceived. Your mommy or your daddy that was deceived gave up your rights. And my name does not appear on that birth certificate. Or excuse me, my signature does not appear on that birth certificate. There's some certificate someplace that has my footprints on it, my soul, but there is no birth certificate that has my signature on it. There isn't one that exists on this entire planet. Not a single birth certificate has my name on it. My signature, because I wouldn't sign the things. And I certainly wasn't, when I was born, I certainly couldn't hold a pencil or a pen. So somebody did this for me. So I need to resend and rediculate, send and, because it is ridiculous, but I need to resend and terminate and dissolve and revoke and suspend and purge all of those documents that you assume, making me assumpsit, that I or actually it's not assumption, it's presumption. Learn the difference between those two words. They presume because is that your signature? Why, yes, it is. Well, then they presume that you're acquiescing. They presume that you need representation. Get it? Now for real, I quit. Educate yourself. Then you can educate others. You cannot tell these dim-witted dweebs a fucking thing. You can't. Oh, wait, I had one more thing I wanted to do. This will help you in your documents. Pardon my coughing. That's, I don't have the Rona, trust me. Let's see, yeah, I'll go in here. I'm going to read to you guys. What am I going to read to you? Oh, really? Oh, dear. This could cause problems. All right, hold on a second. I'm just clicking away over here. What I'm going to read to you is various code sections of the United States Code that that you might want to put in your documents, or you might want to reference in an appendix in your documents, etc. So I'm going to write some, put some code sections here, and I'm going to speak them slowly. I'm not going to write them down, so that you can hopefully use this information to your benefit. And like I said, just let them know that you know, that they know, you know, they know, that you know, that they know, that you know. Okay, let's see here. Nope, not that, not that. Oh, of course. See, this is what happens. Oh, here's the thing. Here's a fun thing. If you want some serious entertainment, go check out, it wasn't even a fair fight when you get down to it. Cardi B and Candace Owens on Twitter. Candace Owens basically ate Cardi's lunch, and you knew that was going to be the case. One of them is educated, the other one is just sad. Let's see here. I mean, that wasn't even a fair fight. Oh, wait, here's a good one. The real conspiracy theorists believe the government cares about them, the media would never mislead or lie to them, and that the pharmaceutical companies that make billions off of their sickness want to cure them. Those are the real conspiracy theorists. All right, let me just get this. Been talking for 2 hours. My throat is dry. I should be kicked off of Facebook here pretty quickly. Did you see this also, that they're paying you? They're paying you to stay off Facebook. Stay ignorant. Stay ignorant. All right. So let's start off with, what am I going to start off with? 42 USC, 42 USC, and 18 USC. So you can write this down, right? So we'll start with 42 USC, United States Code, and then 18 United States Code. Here are the specific code sections that you may want to mention when it comes to any documents where you accuse your mayor or governor of being outside of their gubernatorial license, contempt of Constitution, violation of various codes that they are subject and party to. Because remember, they, via their oaths of office, have sworn to uphold and protect the Constitution for United States Corporation. You're not party to that contract, except through adhesion. All right, so let's get started. Oh, wait. It's not coming up, for Pete's sakes. All right, just give it a second, because for whatever reason, this is slower than sin. You know why? Is because I'm trying to read it to you is why. All right, so anyway, 18 USC and 14 USC. Let's start with 18 USC. Oh no, let's go the other way. All right, here they are. So I'll start at the. It shows me the last one first, so I'm going to the first one last, or whatever. All right, this is Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare. Let's see, Chapter 20. Okay, wait. So USC 42, the Public Health and Welfare, Chapter 21, Civil Rights. 42 USC 1983, Civil Action for Deprivation of Rights. Go look it up. 42 USC Section 1983. 42 USC Section 1985, Conspiracy to Interfere with Civil Rights. Let's see here, USC Section 1985, Conspiracy to Interfere with Civil Rights. Let's see here, USC 42, Section 3617, Interference, Coercion, or Intimidation. Are they coercing you and intimidating you into putting that mask on? All right, so those three, 42 USC 1983, 14 USC, or excuse me, 42 USC 1985, and 42 USC 3617. All right, let's move on to, oh, and by the way, you want some diamonds, you want some gold, go look in 5, stop right there. Just go look in the Administrative Procedures Act. There is gold there. You want to hold their feet to the fire, because then there's implementing regulations, and oh, it gets fun. All right, so let's see here. 18 USC Section 241. That's 18 USC Section 241. 18 US, oh, let me read it to you. Conspiracy against rights. 18 U.S. Code for 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. That's my favorite one, right? They don't have law, they have color of law. They have hue, they have the hue of law, right? Humans, they have color of law. They do not have law. 18 U.S.C. 242. All right, 18 U.S.C. Code 245, federally protected activities. There are certain activities that are federally protected. Maybe you should read that code and find out which they are. So that's 18 USC 245. 18 USC 1031. Ooh, major fraud against the United States. That's a U.S. code. So you might let the United States, those guys on the left hand, that corporation, let them know that they're being defrauded under their own codes, under their own statutes. 18 USC 1038, false information and hoaxes. Oh, there's a couple diamonds in there, promise. Let's see here. 18 USC Section 1341, frauds and swindles. Okay. I think that should be enough for you to have fun with. Like I said, you might want to stick some of this into your documents and cite them. Again, don't cite law, don't cite words, don't cite stuff that you don't understand, but read these sections. Don't just stick them in there. Oh, 100 Monkey said 18 USC 1340. Right? No. Go and look up the code. How do you look it up? In Cornell. I'll put a link below. But actually, if you just stick that into Google will actually show you. They haven't gotten that bad yet. But so if you just put in 18 USC 1341 frauds and swindles should come up, and it will probably be use Cornell law and give them some money. They have, and all 50 U.S. titles are on in that section. You can look them up, and it's a huge amount of data and information. So you should give just $5. If all you gave them, what do I have? 11 people. If you all gave $5, they'd have $55. But I mean, it takes a little bit to run that site. And it's an excellent, when you're doing documents or writing letters and so forth, you can look the law up on that site instantaneously, right? So anyway, they're worth it. Okay, okay. And the Fed, absolutely, and the Fed. Uh, yeah, I agree, absolutely. Uh, Absolutely, she does. Absolutely, Candace Owens. I remember when Candace Owens had like 30,000 followers, and I was one of them. And then now she's got like 2.5 million. You don't think she's been co-opted? You don't think she gets handed a few things to talk about? But see, Candace, the thing I like about her, and absolutely, guys, Candace Owens, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, all these, all your movie stars and so forth, they're all U.S. corporation. All of them. They're all there doing theater to keep your mind controlled so that you are not men and women that act like free men and women, and that you give up portions of your uh, income, the money that you make, to them. And I like the definition, Mon I. Yes, it's the all seeing eye. It's on the fucking $1 bill. They tell you who they are, right? The New World Order. They don't, like I said, it's all out in the open. Once you wake up, it's staring you in the face. You know who's who just by their name, just by looking at them, the way they dress, the symbols and signs that they carry with them. You know who they are once you wake up. The kind of language that they use, you know who they are. All right, and they are either left-hand path or right-hand path. They're either there to enslave or there to set free. And guess what? Precious few of them are there to set free. Right? Most of them are there to enslave and entrap and trick and defraud, right? Including quite a few of the people in the Patriot movement. So like I said, first things first, get your liberty set aside. Figure out your inalienable rights, claim them. Get your rights together. Then you can start looking at, oh, wait a minute, you want that car and you rent? Then yeah, there's an account that you can tap. You want your electricity because you need it and water taken care of? Yeah, those are municipalities. Those are, what's the word I'm looking for? Public utilities. And they, because they're public utilities, there is a way for you to discharge those, because they're not sending you bills, they're sending you statements. So you need to know how to, then you become pay again when you pay it the second time with your labor. Same thing, mortgages and so forth. But the idea is they're there to extract wealth from you. So you want to stop them extracting wealth and have those that are in charge of discharging these kind of things, discharge these kind of things. You want a place to live. Well, that's kind of a basic human right. They'll take care of that too, but you got to know how. But before you do any of that stuff where you quote unquote get free money or free stuff from the government, tapping the accounts that they set up for you, because see, when you were born, they're not stupid. They set aside, just like my trust fund friends, babies, and so forth, they set aside a bunch of wealth so that so they wouldn't have to take care of you, basically. So you need to know how to tap those accounts. And you don't. It's not easy. And they make it as difficult as possible. But there is a process for tapping those accounts. But before you fucking do any of that, because they set pitfalls up and traps, you need to let them know that you're a man, so that if you fall into one of those pitfalls and traps, you can say, sorry, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And they can't use your body as collateral for the charge that they put up against you. But a lot of the people that were in the various patriot movements and so forth that are charging you exorbitant fees to set up trust, don't set up trust. There is no fucking trust. That are charging you fees and giving you information with huge dollar signs attached to it, are there to extract wealth from you. And they are either knowingly or unknowingly, inadvertently working for the United States Corporation in order to ensnare you and entrap you. And the United States Corporation has no problem with this. And because they can get you, they can extract wealth from you in fees and penalties and so forth for you fucking up the process, or they can actually put you in jail for, IRS is famous for that, right? These people that would make the most asinine arguments with the IRS, and the IRS may, all right, and they come to your door with guns and clubs and fucking drag you off to jail. I can think of more than a few that happened to, and some of them I even warned them ahead of time. I was like, you don't want to go to, and sure enough. Anyway, because it's a small, Larkin Rose for one. Don't even get me started on that one. I warned him, and he just fucking ignored everything I wrote to him. Should have talked to him on the phone. Should have gotten his face, but I didn't. Anyway, but now he knows 861 was nowhere to stand. You couldn't stand on 861, slave. Anyway, all right. I've had enough for real this time. Another fucking half hour goes by. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your subscribes and likes. People are sending me Patreon. I think $31 went into my PayPal account from Patreon. Patreon is about to go away, I think, because Patreon is going to get sued into oblivion for the things that Patreon has done to other people that have tried to use Patreon to support some of the people in the community. So anyway, I think that they are going to get sued and that Patreon is not going to be a thing. But in the meantime, thank you for those of you who have given me Patreon. I really, really appreciate it. I use it for all kinds of fun stuff. Oh, one more thing. RoadtoRoota. I'll put the links below. Theta. I did done some research on Theta, and I do believe that I had a guy. This is true. He's an animator in LA. I won't mention his name. Occasionally he watches these things. He lets me know. Anyway, and he was telling me about Ethereum when it was $3, and then it went to $10. Go look at Ethereum now. Did he follow his own advice and buy up as much Ethereum as he could and sell his car and get a shittier car and use the money to buy Ethereum? Nope, 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 nope. In 2009, I was pretty sure this Bitcoin thing was going to be a thing. Did I do anything about it? Fuck no. And I remember when you could get like many Bitcoins for $1. And I remember I had a friend that set up a mining operation he had one room set up with air conditioners and all these, and he was cool because he went and to the community college where they have the disposal basically for processors. And he set up this whole fucking Bitcoin mining operation way back in this, like 2009, 2008. And every once in a while he'd pop out a Bitcoin and he'd have a celebration. Every one of those coins is worth what, $10,000 now? All right. There's this other thing called Theta, and I'll put the link below. RoadtoRoota. Go find out about it. This is not investment advice. None of this is legal to be construed as legal. If you take legal and investment advice from a guy that looks like this, fuck you. You deserve what you get. But anyway, Theta is something you should probably look into. Go take a look at Theta, and the RoadtoRoota guy is all about it. And what is that, Big Swear? He's also talking about silver. You can. I have mixed feelings about crypto because I believe it is a mechanism of control. Imagine having this whole system where, anyway, think about how the nefarious uses of crypto, and that's why they're getting rid of our coins and our currency, our paper money and our coins, because they want to move it on to the mark of the beast. They want to make it so that you can't buy or sell unless you use the government crypto. And if you're naughty and you make naughty videos like this and you say naughty things about the truth on Facebook and so forth, you won't be able to use your crypto account. Ask the Chinese if this is possible. And they will tell you, yes, it is possible. So I have mixed feelings about crypto. However, I think that he's right. This thing is now what, like 40 cents right now? And one day this is going to be a $10,000 coin. So look into it. I might be wrong. I might be right. Maybe you look into Theta and how to get Theta into your wallets. Okie dokie. I'm now, for fuck sure, I'm done. So educate yourself, educate your others. The only way to educate others is to get them asking questions. You cannot tell them anything. You can't tell them that only 6% died of straight Rona and everybody else, the other 94% of them had comorbidities that were, serious comorbidities like diabetes and obesity and being over the age of 85 and blah, 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 blah. All the, like 2.6 comorbidities. You can't tell them that. They don't care. They can't hear it. You can't tell them about child molesters and child rapers. You can't tell them about Satanists. You can't tell them about Saturnists. You can't tell them about changing their status. You got to get them asking questions. So educate yourself well enough that you can get them to ask questions like, why does it say informant on the birth certificate? What does that birth certificate, what does that number mean down there at the bottom of your birth certificate? Is that linked to something? Is that an account number? Is that a routing number? What's a routing number? What's an account? Does it have any? Can you write bonds on Flash? Ask questions. Get them asking questions. Questions that they need to do some research to answer, right? Then they can start to wake up. And then they, oh, hey, what's the temperature that an I-beam melts and loses its ability to bear weight? What temperature is that? How hot can an office fire get? How hot can jet fuel get? Okay, ask some questions, and you'll be a happier camper. I'm probably not going to make a video on Friday but I may make a video on Sunday because there's a whole lot going on that I haven't covered here. And even though I've been talking for 2.5 hours, but there's more going on. Oh, also, I'll have to share some of the letters that I've written to various people. Some of the contents of the letters in general form, not in for my specific situation with my so on, but I'll have some of that. But there is a whole lot of stuff going on, and it's happening so fast with the Trump patrol and Biden thing and this election and the Rona and the climate change. Like I said, snow falling in September and fires. And those fires! There is so much conspiracy theory behind those fires. Conspiracy theory. Go follow them. You know what you do? Follow the money. Just fucking follow the money every time. Follow the money. Whatever it is, follow the fucking money. Why is it that Trump gets so much flack about trying to end wars? Why is it that you're going to see in the near future some of these generals that you thought would be upholding the Constitution and taking their oaths seriously, breaking their oaths, and basically they don't like Trump because they don't make money, and they sit on the boards of all these military-industrial complex corporations after they get out of the military as generals, and they sit as advisors, and they make all kinds. But if there's no war to advise on, okay, educate self, educate others, e pluribus unum. All of us, right? None of you are sovereign. All of us are sovereign, right? The sovereignty lies in the people, not in the person, and you may not delegate authority to any other organization, entity, etc., that you don't have. So you need to find out what kind of authority do you have? What are you authorized to do? Educate self, educate others, e pluribus unum. We're coming out the other side of this smelling like roses, but not everybody's going to make it to the other side. So your job is to make sure that you and the ones you love do make it to the other side. Oh, wait, now it won't end the stream. That's funny. All right, we'll try that one more time. There you go.